And again, the sun striking the San Gabriel Mountains for another Rose Bowl game. As we move into the city of Pasadena, over 1.5 million have dispersed from the famous Rose Bowl parade, and now the stadium itself is the focus of attention. From the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, the 1978 Rose Bowl game, the University of Washington versus the University of Michigan. Brought to you by Dodge. We invite you to come in and see why today's Dodge dealers got it all. By the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller's High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. And by Goodyear, developers of such tire innovations as the new all-season Tiempo Radial. Good afternoon, everybody, and a Happy New Year from NBC Sports. Kurt Gowdy, my sidekick, John Brody. The sun is out. A little bit cooler, though, than usual for a Rose Bowl game. The temperature right now at game time, 61. However, the weather should be warming up. The sun came out about an hour and a half ago, and I imagine an hour or two from now, we might be up to 65 or 70 degrees. The Michigan band down on the field, John, the usual pageantry here. And let's go down and take a quick look at some of the color going on. And there is former President Gerald Ford. He is the Grand Marshal of the Tournament of Roses this year, and he is going to sign a football autograph. And he was a former center at the University of Michigan and voted the most valuable player of the team he played on. He will sign a football and present it to Harrison Bud Baker Jr., who is the president of this Tournament of Roses committee this year, and it will then be passed on to the captain of the winning team. Well, there's one man that has really been, I think, uptight this week. All football coaches are uptight before a big game, but Glenn, and many don't know him as Glenn, it's Bo Schembechler, has been uptight. Everything has happened to him and his team when they come to Pasadena. Back in 1970, he suffered a heart attack 2 days before the Rose Bowl game. Then the next time he came here, he lost to Stanford 13-12 in the last 3 seconds. And last year they fell behind USC and could never catch up. So he's 0-3 and it's been all bad luck for him here. Now, everybody says, well, he has to win because he's got the best team. He's a big favorite. And if he loses, it's a big upset. Many people, though, who watch this Pac-8 conference don't think it would be an upset.
Kurt, I happen to be one of them. I think Bo Schembechler has a reason to be uptight. He knows if his team wins, he can lay claim to a national title. He also knows he's got to beat a team that whipped California, USC, and Stanford late in the season. And anybody that watched bowl games previous to this knows that Stanford and SC showed the Pacific 8 pretty well. I think he's got reason. I think Washington's an outstanding team. I don't buy upsets. They've come too far to get here. I think the winning team deserves to win, and that's the way it works.
Michigan is the favorite by 2 touchdowns, 13, 14 points, because of their more imposing season record. 10 wins, 1 loss. Washington's lost 4 games. 3 of the first 4, though, were lost early in the year, and then they came strong, winning 6 of their last 7 and scoring up in the 25, 30-point average the rest of the way. Now, I think the best way to find out about a team is to go to the other ball club. They'll tell you more. So we're going to find out about the Michigan Ball Club, and here it is from the Washington coach, Mr. Don James.
We're very impressed with the Michigan team. We think they have excellent balance. I think the fact that Bo's been there a number of years has his program established. You look at their kicking game, it's outstanding. Their punter averages 40 yards a kick. You go to their defense, and very solid. Good athletes, very quick, very aggressive, and they only give about 8 points a game. That's a problem for everybody. When you think in terms of their offense, I think they've opened up a little bit this year. They throw the ball a little bit more. They've thrown for 1,100 yards. You face an I team, and you worry about the tailback. Now you get Russell Davis in there at fullback, and he's gained over 1,000 yards. I think the thing that gives most defenses headaches is trying to stop the option play. And when you look at Leach, he's a great option quarterback. If he can get the running game established inside, he can run the option outside. Then we're going to have to face a very good, solid passing attack, play-action passes.
That's Don James in his first Rose Bowl game. This will be the fourth for Bo Schembechler. And by the way, in the last 9 years, he has the best coaching record of all the college coaches in America. Here he is for a report now at the University of Washington.
The Washington offense has been explosive, particularly the last 7 games when they've averaged nearly through 38 points a game. They have a great quarterback in Warren Moon who can run and pass and makes very few mistakes and throws very few interceptions. Great running back. Steele is the kind of a guy who can get 100 yards in any ball game. And of course, with a receiver like Gaines with a great speed and a big play, they've got all the ingredients of an outstanding offense. The defense is equally good. They're a tremendous flow team. They get to the ball real well. I think Jackson, their fine linebacker, typifies the defense because it's a flowing, hitting, running defense, similar to the type that we play. And of course, we know that our defense is a very difficult one to run and pass on. So this is a fine Washington team. Their place kicking in Robbins is outstanding. And we think that, particularly in the last 7 games, this is one of the finest football teams in the country.
Hey, John, it sounds like they respect each other.
Well, I think it was a very diplomatic assessment by 2 very well-prepared, very intelligent, but more than that, very tough-minded coaches who've gone all year long getting their team ready.
All right, that's the scouting reports from the 2 coaches. The Washington and Michigan teams are getting ready, and we'll be right back here for the 1978 Rose Bowl game. Look at this shot. 106,000 people. Ex-President Gerald Ford. He was the Grand Marshal of the parade this morning. He has autographed the ball that'll be given to the winning captain. And now he's moving up in the stands, and he's going to enjoy what we think will be a fine game.
And you know he's going to be looking at the center position where he played. They may have 2 of the finest in the country playing today in Downing and Blair Bush. He is not just another helmet head, but he seems to keep the same interest he had when he was 21 about the game.
Now you'll be seeing this shot throughout the day from different angles from our blimp. There are 2 or 3 sights in sports that I think are the most glorious, and this has to be one.
We're looking at one of them.
Pasadena in the sun.
They better take a good look at that rose right now, because I think it's going to be pretty well torn up in about half an hour.
And now we're poised downfield, and ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
The University of Washington Husky Marching Band, under the direction of Bill Bissell, together with Robert McGrath, invite you to salute America by joining in our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad streets and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Now we're going to meet some of the outstanding players of both squads, and John Brody is going to introduce to you the starting members of the Washington defensive team.
Well, Kurt, we'll start with the Washington defensive line. They're the front 3, and they are a good one.
Cliff Bethea, nose guard. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, art major.
Doug Martin, defensive tackle, Fairfield, California, communications major.
Dave Browning, defensive tackle, Fairfield, Washington, history major. Now let's take a look at some of the players who back up that front three, and they have their hands full today.
John Curley, outside linebacker, Maple Valley, Washington, business major.
Bruce Harrell, right inside linebacker, Seattle, Washington, political science major.
Michael Anthony Jackson, Pasco, Washington, left inside backer, communications major.
Antoine Lamont Richardson, weak outside linebacker, out of Los Angeles, California, graphic design major.
And the last line of defense, the safety men.
Nesby L. Glasgow, left cornerback, Linwood, California, business major.
Lance Todell, right corner, Richmond, California, business major.
Kyle Heinrich, weak safety, Saratoga, California, but business major.
Greg Grimes, strong safety, Bakersfield, California, communication major.
And finally for the Huskies, their defensive special teams captain.
Michael Rohrback, inside linebacker and co-captain, Seattle, Washington, speech and communications major.
All right, those were the defensive specialists of the University of Washington. And we went to Bo Schembechler and his coaching staff, asked him how he wanted to introduce his starting team, and he said, I want to go with my seniors. He's very senior-oriented. He works with his seniors, and they help form the leadership every year of the Michigan team. He gives them a lot of responsibility. And let's begin on offense with the linemen.
Jerry Czar, right guard, Oaklawn, Illinois, psych major.
Mark Donahue, offensive guard, Oaklawn, Illinois, social studies major.
Walt Downing, center, Coatesville, Pennsylvania, education major.
Mike Ken, offensive tackle, Evanston, Illinois, Bachelor of General Studies.
Well, that's the beef. Now how about the rabbits, the wide receivers?
Rick White, wide receiver, Cincinnati, Ohio, English.
Kurt Stevenson, wide receiver, La Jolla, California, physical education.
Max Richardson, wingback, Fort Wayne, Indiana, political science major.
And now to defense, linebackers. They'll have to deal with Warren Moon and company today.
Dominic Tedesco, outside linebacker, Riverside, Illinois, general studies.
John Anderson, outside linebacker, Waukesha, Wisconsin, majoring in conservation.
The hubs of the defense are next, the middle guard and the Wolfman.
Steve Graves, middle guard, from Cleveland, Ohio, education major. Dwight Hicks, strong safety, Pensacola, New Jersey, education.
And finally, the men who can't make many mistakes, the secondary.
Derek Wayne Howard, short side defensive halfback out of Hamilton, Ohio, majoring in architecture.
James Pickens, free safety, from Toledo, Ohio, majoring in business administration, pre-law.
All right, you've met the seniors of Michigan. By the way, Washington is a younger team. There are only 4 seniors on its starting offensive and defensive unit today. And we're waiting now for the entry of the 2 teams on the field, and I believe Washington, here they are, the Huskies back here, first time in 14 years. Been a long way, John, for those folks up in Seattle.
And I think both coaches have done it so wisely. They've got 95 of them out there on the field for each team. 6 or 7 years from now, each kid sitting alongside that television set can reach over to his child and say, hey, I played in that game.
Well, they were the Pac-8 champs. They did it with a rush down to finish, winning 6 of their last 7 games. And we're waiting for Michigan, and here come the Wolverines. Schembechler. They want to win this one for him today. They know he's been bitterly disappointed here.
Let's hope somebody doesn't get hurt in that little melee they put on down there.
The officials today, Otho Kortz Jr., who is a cattle salesman, is a referee. Henry Sador, the food and beverage broker, is the umpire. They call him Hank. The head linesman is Edward Scheck. He's the superintendent of Parks and Recreation in Iowa. The line judge, Gaylord Bryan. Field judge, John Everett. The back judge is Jack Higgins. All right, now we're going to escort the Michigan team out.
All right, right in here, Downey, if you don't mind. Here we go, guys. Let's get them.
And that's Hicks, number 17.
We had enough free game now.
And Downing, 72.
Ed, hey! Go that way.
Moon, Bush, Rohrbach, and Browning are the captains of Washington.
Bush, Browning, Hicks, and Downey. Fellas, you gotta meet my men. John Everett, Hank Sidoris, Ed Scheck, Jack Higgins, and Gaylord Bryan. All right, now, the visitors today is Washington. The coin, the head, the other side matches the tail. You will call in the air if I should drop it, then we will try it again. Give it a call. They call tails, and they got a head. The toss is won by Michigan. Michigan will receive. You're gonna go around there. Take this with you. Take this with you. All right, let's go get them.
I'm right at the bottom of the quarter.
All right, Michigan has won the toss. They'll receive on your right. Very little breeze today. It won't be a big factor. Washington will kick off from your left. And working with us today at the NBC Sports staff will be Charlie Jones, roaming the sidelines. And let's get a pre-kickoff piece from Charlie.
All right, Kurt, you mentioned the fact that the wind would not be a factor. In retrospect, it might be. Due to the fact that we had the rains early in the week, we have not had any wind here at the Rose Bowl, so that means that it is not completely dried out. The turf is a bit on the soft side. Most of the players are going to the half-inch cleats. They'll tear up the field a bit. The turf could get a little dicey, the footing a little troublesome in the second half. Just a footnote to watch for. Let's go back upstairs.
Thank you, Charlie. Washington in white. That's Steve Robbins in the kicking game today. Washington should hold the edge in kickoffs, in field goals, Michigan in punting.
If they hold it in field goals, they may come out on top.
Robbins is going to kick off. We're waiting for Michigan to break. They'll have three deep men. Dwight Hicks, 17. He'll be on the far side. Ralph Clayton, a wide receiver, will be in the middle. He'll be number 22. And on the near side is Stanley Edwards. Steve Robbins will get the 1978 Rose Bowl underway. And here we go. The kick to Clayton, 3-yard line. 10, 15, 20. 25 and is spun down on the 26-yard line. He's hit there by Pete Cormie, an inside linebacker. It'll be Michigan's ball, first down. They'll have Rick Leach 7 at quarterback. Russell Davis 33, and the tailback, a freshman, is starting today. Stanley Edwards. Roosevelt Smith has a bad knee. Clayton and White are the wide receivers. Gene Johnson is the tight end. And Rick White flanked out to the right. Clayton to the left, first down. They bring White in motion. The pitch out. It's to a flanker, Clayton, and Clayton is knocked out of bounds. Coming around was Clayton, a wingback, and Michigan starts with a wide play. Nesby Glasgow, the left cornerback, knocked him out of bounds on the 32-yard line of Michigan. This is a good offensive line. Mike Ken, the left tackle. An All-American, Donahue at left guard. An All-American, Downing at center. Zara is the right guard, and Geisler is the right tackle. Second down, 4. Wolverines at the 32. They're in the slot left. Leach is going to throw. Shoots it out. Nearly intercepted by Michael Jackson, who will be all over this field. He is an amazing linebacker, just a junior, and will be everybody's pick for an All-American next year.
Well, so many people have said he's the best athlete on the field for both teams. I'm not sure it's so. They've got so many great ones, but I'll tell you, he was 20 yards down the field on a play-action pass.
How about the defense, John?
Well, Doug Martin, Cliff Bethea, and Dave Browning hold down the front three. Cliff Bethea came in after 4 weeks, been doing a great job. John Curley, Mike Jackson, Bruce Harrell, and Alan Richardson, and Quan Richardson are the linebackers.
They're down 4 for Michigan from their 32. The pitch is wide to Edwards. Edwards at the 30, going for the first down, and he has it. And Michigan opens the throttle right from the start with a flip to the flanker, a long forward pass, and now the freshman Stanley Edwards streaking for the first down, brought down by Nesby Glasgow.
Again, we'll go through the linebackers, Kurt. With Curley, Jackson, Harrell, and Richardson, they've got a fine group of 4 people. The 4 behind them are the ones that are really in a position of work today. Nesby Glasgow, Lance Todell, Greg Grimes, Kyle Heinrich, Don Heinrich's son, been doing a great job.
First down, Michigan on their 39-yard line. Stevenson is wide receiver. He's in motion. He's replaced twice. Leach on the option. Gave it to the first man through, Russell Davis. And Davis is piled up at the 45 by Michael Jackson. Harlan Huckabee did not suit up today. He's the starting tailback for Michigan. He was nagged with a hamstring pull all year long. Roosevelt Smith took his place. And then today, Roosevelt Smith has a gimpy knee, and Stanley Edwards started, but now they have Smith in the game at tailback. Second down 4, Michigan. On their own 45, no score early. Again, Davis carries, and he's hit by Bruce Harrell, the right inside linebacker. Davis, who gained over 1,000 yards this year for Michigan. The ball's on a 46-yard line of the Wolverines, 3rd and 3. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
David Horowitz visits a small claims court tonight at 8:30 on KNBC, Los Angeles.
Kurt Gowdy, John Brody, Charlie Jones with you from Pasadena. 3rd and 3, Michigan on their 46. No score. 2 minutes gone. First period. Leach. Handed off, and they have that hole. Davis, big hole open, and he just ran behind Downing and Zara, the center and right guard. First down, Michigan, John.
And you were watching Davis do what they're going to have to do to penetrate. Michigan loves to control the ball when they get you down. They've got a tough job in front of them today. Again, Bruce Harrell in on the tackle. In a little late. Effective for Michigan.
And Roosevelt Smith comes out. The freshman Stanley Edwards is back in his tailback. Rick Leach, the junior. He holds all the Michigan records, more than anyone. And they got messed up there in a long signal count, everyone hopping around. He might have been calling an audible at the line of scrimmage. Geisler may have been the man that jumped. There's an illegal procedure against Michigan, and I believe it's number 68, the strong side tackle, John Geisler. That'll move the ball back to the 49-yard line of Washington. Michigan has a 1st and 15. No score. 12:30 to play in the first period. Warming up is Warren Moon. He's the Washington quarterback. He thinks he's never going to get a chance. Clayton was in motion. Leach on a delayed handoff, and plowing through is Stanley Edwards, who averaged just under 5 yards a carry as a freshman, and they predict greatness for him before he's through at Michigan. When you start a Rose Bowl game with a freshman, that shows you how good you are.
Greatness is down the line, but quickness I can already see that he has. And they've got the fine offensive line in Donahue, Ken, and Downey. These three guys are going to produce some holes. Quickness is going to produce yards.
Second down, 8 to go. Michigan on the Washington 42. Leach, handoff deep in the backfield to Edwards. He's stacked up at the 39-yard line by Doug Martin, the left tackle, and Cliff Bethea, the nose guard. They hand off deep in the backfield sometimes to the tailback. There's the Husky, and that gives him more time to read his opening.
Makes it more mandatory, too, for each offensive lineman to contain his block as long as possible, because you can't afford one to slip by. You can get them before they get to the line. They haven't let them slip.
Michigan is facing a third down. 5 on the Washington 39. Leach will throw it. He's under the gun. He's it out. He completes it, but is short of a first down. Russell Davis, the fullback, caught the ball, and he's hit by Bruce Harrell, number 55, the inside linebacker. They're short of a first down. It is on the 38-yard line, and in punt formation goes John Anderson, who has averaged 40 yards a kick this year. He has been the team's punter 4 years in succession. And he's an All-American linebacker. Neil Glasgow and Kyle Heinrich are back. Punt formation. Bad pass, but he boots it away. And time is called.
I'll tell you what happened. The man to get the ball, put his knee on the ground.
Put his knee on the ground.
And they called it dead.
He went down to get the one hopper in front of him and downed himself.
You know, I know it had to just be a reaction. His knee is on the ground, the ball is in his hand, and it's dead.
And that's the first mistake of the game, and the mistake is against Michigan. We'll be back. Washington has the ball now in prime field position with no... The Washington offense, Warren Moon the quarterback, Ron Gibson the fullback, Joe Steele the tailback, Gary Briggs, Spider Gaines the outside men, and the tight end is Scott Greenwood. Moon fakes the handoff, throws it deep, down to Gaines, it's over his head. Gaines is the deep threat of this club. He averaged 22 yards a catch this year. He's a world-class hurdler. He can go.
And Don James' viewpoint is that he just doesn't know quite how good he is yet. He may get tested today.
Rest of the offensive line for Washington. Roger Westland at left tackle. Phil Foreman, the left guard. Blair Bush, the second-team All-American at center. Steve Bauer, the right guard. Jeff Taves is the right tackle. Second down 10. Washington on the Michigan 49. No score. That's Steele, the tailback, cracking to the 45. Hit by the safety man, Jim Pickens. It'll be third down 6. John will set the Michigan defense.
Defensively, Michigan is very similar to Washington in the way they line up. We've got Dale Kites at one tackle. The other tackle was Curtis Greer. It is Chris Godfrey now. Steve Graves is the down lineman. The linebackers are Tom Tedesco and John Anderson. Those are the outside backers. Excellent movement. Ron Simpkins and Jerry Meters is playing inside.
Third down 6, Washington on the Michigan 45. They run out of the power I. Moon looking. Throws a shorty to Steele. Steele has it. First down, Washington. Joe Steele, an excellent athlete. Their top ground gainer. He's just a sophomore. And he'll be a strong challenger for All-American honors next year also.
Washington very seldom has thrown the ball at first and second down during the year. They have made like 67 conversions, thrown the ball 165 times on third down, only about 40 on first or second. They've changed the scale. They know they have an uphill battle, and they've got to throw it some on first and second down.
All right, the Huskies put Briggs in motion, number 81. And they give the ball to Ron Gibson, a sophomore fullback from Everett, Washington. Short yardage. He averaged 4.8 yards a carry this year, and he was squeezed by Simpkins and Meter, the two inside linebackers. Those are the defensive backs, John.
Derek Howard and Jim Pickens, two excellent football players. Dwight Hicks, the Wolfman, Mike Jolly, the corner. Those four guys have been strong all year long.
Second down 6. Washington on the Michigan 33. No score. 8:50 to play in the first period. Steele had a hole. He cracked over to 30, fumbled the ball, but the whistle had blown. Jerry Meter hit him. Jerry Meter Jr., Bo Schembechler, anxiously watching his team defend in its own territory. It is on the 28-yard line of Michigan. And they now have a 3rd and 1. Meter came out hugging his shoulder, and Mel Owens, a sophomore, goes in at linebacker. Ron Rowland has come in, and Joe Steele is out. Rowland is now the tailback. Rowland will be 26. Steele beat him out this year. 3rd and 1. Rowland, he would appear to have it, just short of the 25-yard line.
He's got it. They're getting pretty good surge out of their offensive line. Michigan's been an extremely tough team to run the ball against. They've shown they can move the ball as long as they mix it up a little bit. Take a look at how they get off on the ball. Most important thing for an offensive lineman. Westland, Foreman, Bush, Bauer, and Taves. You know they're ready because they know what they're playing.
First down, Washington on the Michigan 26. Briggs in motion. Moon is a sprint out thrower. He's got him. Number 83, 93, Spider Gaines, first down. Ron Simpkins hit him. Gaines, maybe the 1 or 2 best pass receiver on the West Coast.
He was in a good position. You'll see he is alone. Moon rolls out to get a better throwing angle. He's got to be able to beat the linebackers. Makes an excellent throw. I love that kid's motion. People have stated what a good athlete he is. He can throw it too.
Now he runs 109.6. He's tall and has excellent hands. First and goal to go. Washington on the Michigan 7-yard line. Gibson cracks to the 4. Ron Gibson, who put on 15 pounds to try and get a little more heft at fullback. He started as a tailback. He's quick. Now he's got some strength. Joe Steele comes back in the game, number 24. It is 2nd down, 4 to go for a Washington touchdown. Just under 7 minutes to play in the first period. No score in the Rose Bowl. 2nd down, 4. Quarterbacks sneaked by Warren Moon. Flags are down. We have movement up front. And let's see what the officials say.
Mooney got him on a long count.
Offside. Wolverines, they were anxious. They had him on a long signal count, and they jumped.
This kid's been in good control. You can see he kind of emphasizes 1 count, gets movement out of 4 Michigan defenders, gets the ball snapped, and gets about an easy 2.
It is now 2nd down, and 2 yards to go for a Washington touchdown. Head coach Don James with the cap. His team knocking. He keeps it. He rolls. He is in. Touchdown. Warren Moon.
That's about as well done as you can expect in one drive. The first drive he's played in Los Angeles for a while. He's an LA boy. He couldn't wait to come home. He's beautiful on a rollout. You see him make the fake to Joe Steele. He's been their big ground gainer all year long. It's an active call. He gets out into a position to run or throw. He knows he's going in right now. Jim Pickens trying to make the play. Mike Jolly comes up. He finds a hole, and it's 6-zip.
And John, this fellow was booed in his first couple of years at the University of Washington. He was a disappointment, and he just arrived at this year. Let's take a look at another angle. He's a runner and a thrower.
And let's credit Don James. A good coach knows what he's got at quarterback, doesn't make changes, and doesn't listen to the people upstairs booing or yelling. He let this kid develop, and he's come a long way in 8 games.
All right, Steve Robbins' kick is up, and it is good. And he is 38 out of 38 on the year for extra point. So Washington has struck first. Timeout on the score. Washington 7, Michigan. Pasadena, the Rose Bowl, a glorious afternoon, and right now, a glorious beginning for the University of Washington. 2 touchdown underdogs. They've jumped out in front, 7-0. Steve Robbins will kick off to either Dwight Hicks, Ralph Clayton, or Stanley Edwards. That was a 49-yard drive in 9 plays for the Huskies. Here's the kick. And they want Clayton to field it. He does on the 6. He's out to the 15. And they storm him under on the 22-yard line. Down covering for the University of Washington was number 13, Jeff Leland. Michigan, you remember last year, got behind. That's Washington. Looking at Blackboard offensive strategy with Warren Moon, the man who just scored a touchdown. Michigan got behind USC last year and couldn't catch up without a passing game. We'll see what they do this year.
They've got a passing game. That's why I think they can catch up, Kurt.
First down. Stanley Edwards is the tailback. Russell Davis the fullback, and Leach is the quarterback. White in motion. Leach on the option. Pitches to Edwards. Edwards to the 25. Shakes away. 30 and down at the 31 or 32-yard line by Michael Jackson and Antoine Richardson. Now, you don't think this Jackson can cover the field? Watch him.
He can cover the field. The man that might have to play a little closer to the line of scrimmage is Kyle Heinrich. You'll see he comes up on the tackle. Jackson does his job. Kyle Heinrich's coming to the right of your screen here. He gets the contact on the play. He's getting it a little bit late. When you're making it about 8 or 9 yards past the line of scrimmage, you've got to make up a little bit more difference.
We're going to have the measurement at the 32-yard line of Michigan. 6 minutes, 15 seconds remaining in the first period. And they are a foot short. Michigan lost only 1 game this year. That was to Minnesota, 16-0. Washington lost 4. They lost 3 of their first 4. The last game they lost, UCLA. And then watching in their living rooms, they found out they were in the Rose Bowl when USC beat UCLA in the last seconds. And the Huskies came back to Pasadena. Kurt Stevenson's in a split end. Second down, a foot to go. Michigan on their 32. That's Edwards, and he has the first down. Stanley Edwards running off tackle to the 35-yard line in Michigan. He was stopped by Doug Martin and Cliff Bethea. From high above Pasadena, the Goodyear blimp, Columbia, is bringing us these spectacular aerial views of the Rose Bowl. First down, Wolverines. They're on 35. They're going against a 5-man front, 3 down linemen. The 2 men standing up are actually linebackers. That's Clayton in motion. Leach on the handoff to his fullback, Russell Davis. Davis cracking off left tackles to the 37-yard line. Stopped by the right tackle, Dave Browning.
You can't just stand up and play a conventional type defense against a real fine Michigan offensive line. That time Bruce Harrell got in and helped Browning. He got right up in the line of scrimmage. He's been in on 4 or 5 plays in the first 2 drives, and he is doing the right thing enough to keep them at least at bay.
You're watching 84 and 85 coming on and off the field. They're bringing in plays to the Michigan bench, and their wide receivers, White and Stevenson. Second down, 9. Michigan from their 36. Leach hides the ball, now runs up. He's going to be hit and dropped on his 43 or 44-yard line by Richardson, the outside linebacker. Leach averaged 3.5 a run this year. He's clever escaping a pass rush.
And he had to be, because both Kyle Heinrich and Greg Grimes were back there playing the deep secondary. That's the 3rd time Leach intended to go long. His men were covered. He had to either throw it short, try to make a great play, or eat the ball.
In that one loss in its regular season in Minnesota, Michigan successful in only 3 out of 13 third down plays, probably why they lost. The rest of the year, they did it very successfully. Let's see how they do in this one. 3rd down and 1.5 yards. They have the first down. Stanley Edwards spinning out to his 47-yard line. Met Bruce Harrell, the right inside linebacker, and Doug Martin, the left tackle. Here's a final score coming up. Notre Dame ran away from previous #1 ranked Texas 38-10. Now Oklahoma has a chance for the national title. Michigan here feels they've lost only one game, that they should have a shot at it.
Right.
But Oklahoma, you'll hear it on the Orange Bowl, the Oklahoma-Arkansas game right after this one. Oklahoma lost only one game all year, Russell Davis, and finished in very impressive style their regular season. Cliff Bethea making the tackle on Russell Davis. Ball's just over the 50-yard line. Michigan on the Washington 49. This is the type of ball control game that Washington thought Michigan would be playing. There's the All-American Dwight Hicks. He's the wolf man on the Michigan defense. Second down, 6. They jammed him up. Stanley Edwards, he got slowed down behind the line of scrimmage. Bruce Harrell put the finish on him.
And he had to cut inside because Kyle Heinrich got in good pursuit to the outside. That's the same play that's been going for 7 or 8 yards a pop, 10 on the previous 2. Edwards is in good position, has to cut back because Heinrich forced it inside.
Now they have a 3rd down and 8 from their own 49-yard line. They're trailing 7-0. 2.5 minutes to play in the first period. Rick Leach from Flint, Michigan. They're blitzing him. And they have him. Richardson, number 48, went after him.
I'll tell you, I know his dad Don's pretty proud of him. This is a safety blitz. Kyle Heinrich has done it several times today. He's the second leading tackler on the team. When you're a free safety and your stats are that high, you've got to make plays like this one.
His father, an All-American quarterback. He's named after Kyle Rote, who used to work with me, a marvelous man and a great player at SMU and with the New York Giants. Don Heinrich and Kyle Rote were close friends with the Giants. Now the son, Kyle, is in the secondary. Anderson kicking to Glasgow. Glasgow is stopped at the 27-yard line of Washington with blue-shirted Wolverines down to cover the kick. We'll be back in Pasadena with a score. The University of Washington 7 and Michigan nothing. That's the nose guard of Washington on defense, Bethea. Look at the roses on the shoulders. There'll be some petals missing from them when they get through hitting. First down, Washington. They're on their 27. They're in front, 7-0. Warren Moon gives the ball off to Ron Rowland. And look out, boys. They get in there and separate them. Let's go down to Charlie Jones. I think he has an injury report for us.
All right, Kurt, Joe Steele has gone to the locker room. He has a hip pointer. They say that he hurt it in the first series, and he went back in and he hurt it on the goal line stand. He will be back in the ballgame, but has gone to the locker room, should return.
I'll tell you, Joe Steele has been such an instrumental part of their offense all year long. It's got to be a big blow for him, and Rowland has a big job on his shoulders.
Joe Steele led the Washington team in ground gaining this year and scored 13 touchdowns. And he's out. He's in the locker room right now with a hip pointer. This is going to be a legal delay, a legal procedure against the University of Washington. Jeff Taves, the right tackle, moved. His brother, Lauren, plays with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ball's now on the 25-yard line of Washington. Make a 2nd and 12. Kind of a signal is that?
That's a play if you can decipher it.
Joe Steele, the best running back on the Washington club, is injured and in the Washington locker room. We're in the last minute of play in the first period. Briggs in motion. Rowland has the ball. Finds a gaping hole. I'll tell you how good Steele was. He beat that man out, Rowland, and Rowland ran for over 1,000 yards last year. Steele, a sophomore, came in and beat him out this year.
Listen, Joe Steele is one of the really bright prospects in Washington history. He's come on. Hugh McElhaney wasn't too bad from up there. I thought he's the best running back I've ever seen in my life, and this kid is making people forget him.
Well, they say he's the best since McElhaney.
And he's not going to get to show it today, it doesn't look like.
3rd down, 6 to go. Warren Moon, quick signal count. Moon throws, and that's incomplete. And they're claiming interference. Gary Briggs, number 81, said, I was tripped up and pushed around by Mike Jolly. but the official said no, he was just going for the ball. So a punt formation.
Unless they reach for the handkerchief, it doesn't really make much difference.
All right, Notre Dame beat Texas 38-10, and Alabama walked away from Ohio State 35-6. So we had two one-sided games in the Cotton and Sugar Bowl. And right after this game, we'll be switching to Miami, Florida for the Orange Bowl. Oklahoma. They'll be ready with news that Texas got knocked off, playing Arkansas. Aaron Wilson, a freshman in punt formation. He's been an erratic kicker, and that shows right there. A low punt to Dwight Hicks. Hicks fumbles. And Michigan's on it. Michigan recovers on their 33-yard line. Falling on the ball is Mike Jolly, number 16.
When you talk about special teams, Washington's got to find one. Mike Rohrback, their special teams captain, said, we'll have all our guys ready. It's the offense and defense's turn to do their thing. They've covered punts very well. They've been excellent on special teams. Almost got a turnover.
9 seconds to go in the first period. Michigan's ball on their own 32-yard line. That's Davis. Plenty of room for him. He's out to the 42. Very close to a first down. Brought down by Glasgow, the left cornerback. And the clock shows that the first quarter is history in the 64th Rose Bowl game. And the score, the University of Washington 7 and the University of Michigan nothing. There's Joe Steele. He's back on the field. He had a hip pointer. We're going to try and find out more about him and whether he'll be able to play. He is the star tailback of Washington, and he could be sorely missed here if he doesn't come back. Second down and a foot to go. Michigan's ball as they go into the second quarter on their own 41. Leach on second down will throw. He's being chased. He throws it away over the sideline. Now Washington is putting a great pass rush on today by Bethea, the nose guard, and Browning, the right tackle.
Both of them are excellent pass rushers. Rick Leach really showed his cool there. He's got third down and 1 yard to go. It used to be an automatic deep passing down. He was trying to hit his man in the flat. Clayton, he couldn't get the ball to him. He had no chance. He threw it close enough and got it safely out of bounds.
When Michigan comes out of the huddle, watch the left guard, Donahue 60, and the center 72, Downing. They're both All-Americans. They're both seniors, and this is their third bowl game. There they are, two All-Americans side by side. Downing and Donahue, 60 and 72. Up front, where it counts. Russell Davis pounds for the first down. Michael Jackson makes the tackle on him. And it was Donahue and Downing opening the way for Russell Davis. Let's go down to Charlie Jones for a quick report.
I walked with Joe Steele out of the locker room. He said not only the hip pointer, but he also hurt his ribs. He feels he can come back. He simply wants to loosen up on the sideline to find out the extent of the damage. Let's go back upstairs.
Thank you, Charlie. Michigan's ball, they're 45, first down. They're trailing early in the second period, 7-0. The tailback has it, he's hit. Stanley Edwards. Dropped there by 34, John Curley, who got to him. Curley from Maple Valley, Washington. Must be a pretty town. Sounds like it. On the 47-yard line of Michigan. They have a second down, 8. Rick Leach looks them over. They're in a slot left. Leach being chased. They down him on the 40. That's Antoine Richardson, the weak side linebacker, and 65, Dave Browning. Browning, the best pass rusher up front.
I'll tell you can be a great pass rusher, but if your linebackers to the outside, and as they play college football, they're floaters, they have to recognize run and pass. That time, Antoine Richardson recognized it fast, gave Browning a chance to catch up from the backside. Both the outside linebackers have done excellent jobs when Leach has gone back to throw, really creating a problem for him.
Doug Marsh comes in at tight end. Better than average receiver. He's number 80. Third down, 15. Leach now having trouble with his passing game. Can't get any time. Straight drop back. They hit him as he lets it go. And there it is, the mark. Doug Marsh, number 80, just sent in to grab that one, and it eluded his fingertips. Again, a hard pass rush on Leach. Cliff Bethea, the nose guard, was out after him and wrapped him up as he let the ball go.
All three defensive down linemen have put good pressure on them coordinately. When you do it that way, all of you look good, and that's the way it's gone for Washington so far.
John Anderson in punt formation. Nesby Glasgow, the safety man. He led the Pacific Coast in punt returns this year, averaging just over 9 yards of return and broke one for a touchdown. Calls for the fair catch and takes it on his 21-yard line. First down for the University of Washington. There's a timeout here in Pasadena. The score, Washington 7, Michigan nothing.
About the 1980 Olympic Games. They start just 2 years from now with the Winter Games in Lake Placid and continue a few months later with the Summer Games in Moscow. Americans already hard at work in preparation for 1980. For the first time ever, our athletes, men and women from 15 to 45, can benefit from year-round coaching and sports medicine programs at the official Olympic training centers in Squaw Valley and Colorado Springs to help them turn in peak performances in the next Olympic Games. You can help us achieve excellence in 80 by sending your check for $10 or more to U.S. Olympic, Post Office Box 1980N, Cathedral Station, Boston, Massachusetts, 02118. And as our way of saying thank you, we'll send you this unique brass-finished belt buckle with the new 1980 Olympic emblem. Take down that address and send your check to U.S. Olympic, Post Office Box 1980N, Cathedral Station, Boston, Massachusetts.
Look at this crowd here today, 106,000. Michigan's used to this. The 8th time in 12 games this year, they have played to over 100,000 fans. 7-0. Washington ahead, their ball in their own 21-yard line early in the second period. Warren Moon from Gilchrist High School, Los Angeles, is fading the throw. Shoots it deep. And out there is Spider Gaines. Oh, Spider Gaines is caught from behind by Jim Pickens.
When has Washington been most effective? Throwing the ball on first down or second down? They haven't been doing it throughout most of the year. Say, Spider Gaines just outran the secondary coverage. I know he can run 9-2, but they've got about a 12-step lead on him. Moon makes a good fake in the line, isolates the linebackers. Gaines is behind everybody. Dwight Hicks trying to catch up. Jim Pickens trying to catch up. Finally, they drag him down on the 17-yard line.
That is a 62-yard pass from Warren Moon to his deep threat Spider Gaines. First down, Huskies. And going through, hitting to the 10-yard line, Ron Gibson. Quick hitting play. Jim Pickens, the safety man, stopped him. Here goes Spider. Average 22 yards a catch, John. More on this one.
Didn't take him long to catch up to Mike Jolly. There's no running match there. Jim Pickens comes back. Has to catch up, help with Dwight Hicks, not before a real big play.
Second down, 3 to go. The Huskies, big underdogs, are outplaying Michigan. Roland Gibson behind Warren Moon. Roland with the ball. Roland is stopped at the 10-yard line. He might have reached the 9.5. Ron Roland from Hayward, California. Hit by Ron Simpkins, who had the chance to become the greatest linebacker in Michigan history. He's just a sophomore. He made more tackles this year. That's a signal for the next play.
Kind of complicated.
That is. Think you could steal that one?
I don't think I could. I couldn't figure it out if they gave it to me.
I don't believe he knows it.
Moon seems to have it in perfect control.
Now timeout. Timeout on Washington. So we'll take timeout with a score of 7. Number 93, Spider Gaines, ran a 13.6 high hurdle in the track meet with the Soviet Union. He's the best high hurdler in the West Coast, and he can hurdle down that field under passes, too. It is third down and 3. Washington at the 10-yard line of Michigan.
Warren Moon is hit and dropped. And there's a fine play by Ron Simpkins again. Number 40, the sophomore linebacker, Detroit, who set the all-time record for the most tackles by a Michigan player this year.
The impressive thing is that Moon did get outside. Simpkins had a whole lot of pursuit to catch up with Warren. Did it. He was the only man in the area to make the play, and he made it.
Coming in now is Steve Robbins. He has kicked 14 out of 22 field goals. Dwayne Aquina, second string quarterback, will hold. This will be a 30-yard attempt. It is up. The kick is good. Good. Washington extends its lead. A 2-touchdown underdog Husky team from Seattle is now out on front, 10-0.
Premier Sunday Sports World, January 22nd, 2:30 Eastern Time. They've got hurling. I've had a chance to do hurling and motocross, and I think you'll love it.
All right, here's the kickoff. This one's a short one to the 11 to Hicks, back to the 20. Oh, is he creamed? Going down there is Jeff Leland again, number 13, who is really covering on these kicks and punts today for Washington.
When Rohrbeck said he had his group pumped up, he meant it. Now, Hicks has been a fine returner all year long. He's an excellent athlete. He really has very little room to run. The wedge kind of clogged up everything in front of him, and Leland put away the finishing touch.
We have 10:29 remaining here in the first half. Michigan's ball on their 24-yard line. They're behind, and they've got to play catch-up. And they can't get too far behind. That's Leach running the option. Pitching out to Roosevelt Smith. And Smith is brought down on his 25-yard line by John Curley, who is a strong outside linebacker. Washington got nicked early on those outside runs. That time they played it well.
Well, both Curley and Richardson, when you have put them in a bind, they haven't been able to continually beat them doing anything. They'll give you a dab here and a dab there, but they haven't allowed anyone to continually run one play at them.
9 members of this Michigan squad made the All-Big Ten team, 5 on offense. Donahue, Downing, Ken, Leach, and Russell Davis. Second down, 9. Leach fading. Pass out. Broken up by number 46, Greg Grimes, the strong safety, who was intended for Russell Davis. And are these Washington players sky high here?
You know, it's impressive to me, Kurt, that both the free safeties for Washington play very deep off the ball and yet force rather swiftly. Early in the game, Heinrich was having a little trouble getting up, but they play about 12, 13 yards deep. However, they don't take many steps backward.
Now, here's the call the quarterback doesn't like, John. 3rd and 9.
No, I don't know a quarterback that likes it. I much prefer 3rd and 1.
Let's see what Leach does. 3rd and 9 from his 25-yard line. They run it, and they stop and pull. They run the draw play to Russell Davis. Doug Martin, the left tackle, was right there, and Michael Jackson say, no way.
This is not a Michigan specialty. They haven't been 3rd and 9 very often all year long. Washington's played good defense, forced them into a passing situation. Bruce Harrell makes a fine play closing the hole. The 3 defensive linemen join in, and they've got it stopped.
40,000 Washington fans are here, and they just gave their defensive squad a standing ovation as they went to the sideline. John Anderson will kick to Nesby Glasgow, the bright sun. He gets it away. Wobbly kick. Glasgow on his 36 to the 40. And down he goes there on the 40, maybe short of the 40, as he ran backwards. Covering the punt, Fred Motley, number 52. And Dom Tedesco, number 99. We're going to have a timeout in Pasadena. With 8:59 to play in the first half, Washington 10, Michigan nothing. That's right, Oklahoma, Arkansas. Texas has lost today. That's the only team that beat Oklahoma this year. And Oklahoma feels if they win tonight, they should be the national champs. Probably Alabama's got an argument. Notre Dame certainly throwing their chests out down there.
How about Arkansas? I'd lay claim if I beat Oklahoma.
Michigan's lost only 1 here, too. Here's a deep drop, setting a screen up. Gibson to the 45, 50, first down, Ron Gibson. Now there, The master of the screen was John Brody, and he knows all about it. He could throw it as good as anybody. Watch how deep they let those linemen come in.
Well, I don't know if I'm the master, Kurt, but boy, when you can allow your offensive lineman to go downfield on a screen pass, actually any pass caught behind the line of scrimmage, you can use a lot more screens. You notice he gets Phil Foreman out in front of him, right on Dwight Hicks, puts him in a perfect position when he catches the ball to pick up some yardage. Boone's done it all today.
First down. Washington on the 46 of Michigan. First man through is Ron Gibson, who tried to improve his blocking this year. Right now he's running well. He picked up 3 yards to the 43-yard line of Michigan. It's second down and 7. Harrell, he was nagged. He's made some key tackles as an inside linebacker along with Michael Jackson.
Some of the people he's hit are hurting a little bit too.
Second down, 7. Warren Moon and a quick pitch out. Breaking over the 40 is Rowland to the 38. Ron Rowland, who's having to go most of the way. Joe Steele, the star tailback, the sophomore, was injured early in the game. And Jerry Meter, an inside linebacker, made that last tackle. Now the ball's on the 38-yard line of Michigan. It's third down, 2. And Washington, with a balanced attack, running, screens, long passes, has been picking up yardage. Tom Seaborn is in an outside linebacker, replacing Tedesco. Flags are down. Michigan may have been offside. That one is batted away. Steve Graves made the charge. Offside against Michigan.
Tell you, Moon has him off balance.
Graves was offside.
He's got him off balance. He long counted them again at a perfect time. Third down at 3 yards. It's hard to pick up. He got it the easy way.
Watch it here now in this replay. There he is, 54, moving. Steve Graves, and offside. And that gives Washington a first down. They're on the Michigan 34-yard line. The Huskies on top, 10-0. The first quarter touchdown. And a second period field goal. Moon throws, and we have an incomplete forward pass. No intentionally grounding. Michigan thinks it should be called intentionally grounding.
Well, I think they could have called that just the way they could have called Leach's pass out of bounds intentional grounding. There's no doubt about the fact that he wanted to get rid of the ball and preserve the scrimmage line. However, it takes a good man to throw it close enough to a receiver, who was Scott Greenwood on the play, so the official won't call it.
Second down, 10. Don James, including 3 years of coaching at Washington. He's brought them back. Quick handoff to Gibson, the fullback. Not much, a couple of yards. We're going to pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
David Horowitz visits a small claims court tonight at 8:30 on KNBC, Los Angeles.
Kurt Gowdy, John Brody, Charlie Jones on the sidelines from the Rose Bowl. And the score 10-0 Washington. Just under 7 minutes to play in the first half. Shem Beckler chomping that gum. He'll be 49 years old in April. He's had a heart attack and a heart bypass operation. Third and 7.
Little reverse
on the Gaines. Gaines at the 30, 25, 20, 15. Gaines is in for a touchdown. Spider Gaines scores, but we have a penalty marker down. You may have a clip on a block I saw at the 20-yard line. Boy, he could go, John.
Well, Kurt, what they did is they got the flow. Michigan's flow has really been penetrating. It's going to be very difficult for them to run against Michigan. They got him going against the flow and made a super play. It looks like a clipping penalty.
I think Bauer, number 66, committed a clip. Let's check. He's the right guard pulling out. Watch it.
Good play action fake to Rowland. He comes out. You can see the flow of Michigan. He's got Simpkins, the whole defensive line penetrating, trying to get into the act. That is not a clip. They're not calling it at that point. I think we see the clip on Mike Jolly.
Let's take a look at another machine here, John.
Gaines did a good job to get in, all for naught. We'll take a look again. Is it Mike Jolly on Jeff Taves on Mike Jolly? He does. He gets his back turned, hits him in the back. All for naught. but a beautiful looking play.
It's Tays, and what an exciting offensive performer that Spider Gaines is. He's caught 2 passes today, 81 yards. He's just had a 31-yard flanker reverse wiped out, a score. Spider Gaines coming out wide to the left. Ball is put back on the 36-yard line. And on 3rd and 11, the toss is complete to Gaines again. And Gaines has the first down. Spider Gaines.
I guess if they figure if he can gain 31, it's not too tough gaining 13 more.
First down. Gaines, by the way, is just a junior.
Every ball Moon has thrown has been either to an intended, has hit the money when he's had his man open, or he's thrown it in a safe spot.
This Warren Moon went to Washington, heralded as an outstanding passer. He was not his first year or two. This year he's hit 57% of his passes. 11 touchdown passes. Moon. And the handoff to Ron Rollins, and now they really have Michigan confused.
Well, that's such a beautifully conceived play, because Moon heretofore has rolled out. When he's gone 4 or 5 steps before he's handed the ball off, he has rolled out. Now this is the effect of a draw play. It looks like it's going to be a rollout pass action. Hands the ball to Roland. He catches Michigan's linebackers in pursuit, forcing Pickens to make the stop late.
Washington on a Michigan 11. Washington leading 10-0, and right now tearing Michigan apart with a combination of everything. Hitting here, hitting there. Gibson, short of the 5, stopped by Dwight Hicks, the Wolfman. The Wolfman in that backfield secondary means he can be anywhere he wants.
But it better be around the ball,
or he won't be the Wolfman.
That's right. I'll tell you, though, when you've got a matchup, a guy like Gibson at 218, 19 pounds against a 185-pound man, I think Hicks better get a good start.
This Washington team, coached by Don James, averaged 28 points a game. Michigan averaged 30 a game. Gibson again. They want power in there, and they give it to the 218-pound Gibson. He's hit by Simpkins, number 40, and Sebron, number 91. James is a very low-key man. He claims that if I ever coached, I was never going to scream at my players. I didn't want to be screamed at or yelled at, and I would never do it myself.
Pretty simple thought, and I think it's very effective.
It's on the 3-yard line, 2.5. 3rd down, a yard to go for a first down. That's Moon. Moon is just short of the goal line. Warren Moon fakes the handoff, ran the option off tackle.
It looks like he has a first, though.
Should be a first and goal. They move the yardstick down. They'll plant that ball on about the half-yard line. Going out is Steve Bauer, the right guard.
Okay, he's in a rare situation. If this was 3rd and goal, I imagine they'd have to go to the air to try and pick it up. He's only got a yard for a first down, however. Moon's a pretty crafty kid. He figures he can pick it up on his own, and he does.
First and goal to go. Washington on the half-yard line of Michigan. Pickens is out. Michael Harden is coming in. Scott Greenwood and Rudy Moraga. Another tight end are in the lineup for blocking power. Mike Tergovac has come in, and Steve Graves is out at nose guard. Michigan already trailing 10-0. Now, Diggs in. Gibson. They pile him up. Ron Gibson is piled up at the goal line. He's not in there, number 42. 2nd down. A foot to go for a Washington touchdown.
So many people say it's anybody can pick up a foot, but when you're playing against a team like Michigan, who has dug in, made it very difficult for people to make more than a yard in that sort of situation all year long, it is no gimme.
Washington has driven 61 yards. They have completely dominated the 2nd quarter with a wide open stop. Gibson nearly moved. Warren Moon. He's over. Warren Moon has scored his 2nd touchdown.
He's done it all, Kurt. He and Spider Gaines have just put a little bit of shock into Michigan. I'm sure the last thought they ever had is that Washington would beat them in the air. They've tried to all day long. They got it down there where they can really do some damage on the ground, and Moon puts it over.
Well, he can run, he can roll out, he can throw on the run, and he's throwing very well today. He can get outside, he can hit inside. A great all-purpose quarterback. Moon lights up their life here in Washington, and that kick is good. And this is a red-hot Washington team, 2-touchdown underdog. They're pouring it on Michigan. Timeout with a score, Washington 17 and Michigan nothing. Well, here's another Goodyear Blimp's eye view. She circles the Rose Bowl to bring you these exciting aerial shots. Washington and Michigan go at it, and going at it, Michigan's really going to have to go at it now. 3.5 to play in the first half. They have been stunned and almost bewildered here in this second period. The kickoff coming to Clayton at the 1. He's out to the 20. And he brings it back to the 30-yard line. Downfield, Wayne Roach, a free safety. Look at that drive. 60 yards, 13 plays. Here, there, pass, run.
Call back, do it again.
Bo Schembechler. Trying to find upstairs what's hitting his squad. First down. Michigan on their 30. Rick Leach throws a screen. And that's Roosevelt Smith. And he's out of bounds. He's hit out by Cliff Bethea and Bruce Harrell. Michigan's style is usually a great defensive team. They've led the nation in defense the last 5 years in allowing the fewest points. And then a grind-them-out offense that controls the game. When they fall behind, they've had problems.
And I think, Kurt, the reason that many people thought they would be much more effective this year is that Leach has come on and thrown the ball well when he's had to. It added another dimension to their ball club all year long.
After they got a new coach, John Newland, to work with Leach on the passing game. And it's improved. Second down, 7. Breaking over is Russell Davis, and that's a big gain for him. Davis to the 48. He followed Mark Donahue.
Okay, they've still got 33 minutes. They're only 17 points down. They've scored a whole lot more than that in one quarter. Mark Donahue's here leading the play. It's really up to the offensive linemen to take control of the game for Michigan. They've been beaten. Washington has controlled both lines of scrimmage. This is a good breaking play by Davis, and they need a lot more of them.
Davis has 47 yards. He's the leading ball carrier in this game. Ball will be on the 47, and they're helping a Washington player off, and that's Bruce Harrell from Seattle, Washington, a sophomore. He was shaken up earlier.
I think he's a little more than shaken up this time, Kurt. He's been a very instrumental part of their defensive play.
Cotton Bowl again. Notre Dame 38. Texas 10, a final. Oklahoma and Arkansas will follow this one. Oklahoma's, there are many fans ready to claim a national title. Alabama, Notre Dame, Michigan fans. You have an elite group down here in this last day of the season, of the college season, with 10 and 11-1 records.
I think everybody's claiming it, Kurt. I've never seen anybody, after they scored a touchdown, run off and put 3 fingers in the air.
Number 1 3 times.
Yeah.
All right. Second down, 7. Michigan in Washington territory in the Washington 49. Leach guns it, and it's deflected at the line of scrimmage. A slant pattern intended for Ralph Clayton, number 22. Willie Galoha, number 35, deflected it, and there's the injured linebacker, his knee, number 55, Bruce Harrell.
And Galoha's the guy that just replaced him.
It is now a third down. 7 to go. Michigan on the Washington 49-yard line. 6 of these Washington defensive backs are from the state of California. Out of a slot left. Rick Leach. They bury him. That's Cliff Bethea getting to him, 67. The flag down. Cliff Bethea, 67, got to him. He was knocked down, and it's grabbing a face mask. They grabbed the face mask on this one.
Well, he's been in there so often, and he's given Downing all he can handle today. As you recall, he's not playing Molly Potts. Downing is the consensus All-American this year. Bethea is showing him that, hey, you're not going to have an easy day in the park. They've tried to handle him with 3 men. The 4th guy he gets to is Leach. Makes a mistake, grabs the face mask. That's the way it goes. He's still doing a heck of a job.
Now they'll walk off the penalty. This will give Michigan a first down, and they need to score badly before the end of this half. With just over 2 minutes to play in the half, it is Washington 17 and Michigan nothing. The face mask penalty, 15 yards, gives Michigan the ball on the Washington 34. Michigan's passing attack has had problems today in Leach getting the time. He has had a hard pass rush on him nearly every time back. First down. First man through is Russell Davis. 2 yards to the 32. Hit by Cliff Bethea and Doug Martin. Don James sent 4 of his assistant coaches to this man's spring training this year, spring practice. He's a great admirer of Schembechler's and wanted to study his procedures.
Yeah, I don't think he was scouting him. I do believe he was trying to learn something.
Right. Second down 8. Leach back. Big rush on him. He lets it go. It's to Russell Davis. But Leach is running backwards. A Roy Regal's run to get out of that one.
He's got nowhere to go. He hasn't been able to get anybody open downfield as a primary receiver. By the time he comes off to a secondary receiver, he's got somebody sitting in his face, and he just hasn't been able to execute.
Oklahoma, Arkansas, standing by at the Orange Bowl. And we'll switch right from Pasadena to Miami for the Orange Bowl on NBC. Third down, 8. Michigan on the Washington 32. 17-0 Washington. A minute 35 to go in the half. Fumble. Washington has the ball. On the ball, Dave Browning, the right tackle.
Those 3 down linemen are just taking turns, Kurt. All of them are coming up with a big play alternately. They've controlled the line of scrimmage, except for a few specific instances. You've got to credit good play. It's not the fault of Michigan offensively. I'm not sure they played anybody of this caliber all year long on this given day.
And the Washington defense, John, was supposed to be pushed around.
Yeah, not so. I know a lot of good teams that have tried to do so. SC being one of them, they forgot to do it.
Schembechler is unhappy. Look at him on that sideline. He is steaming. Washington on their 30-yard line. Moon fires, and it is incomplete to Spider Gaines. Gaines had 30 catches this year, 6 touchdowns, 22 yards a catch, and in this game, he's averaging a little over 31 yards a catch.
And he doesn't do too poorly when you give him a reverse. You know, Moon has been, it's been stated by so many people who have scouted Washington that Moon throws the ball better running to his left than his right. I've never seen that in a quarterback, but every indication I've seen today tells me it's right.
He improved running the option this year, too. Second down, they're not holding on to the ball. He fires it away at the 30 and dropped at the 33-yard line is the tailback Ron Rowland. Saturday, January 7th, preceding coverage of round 3 of the Joe Garagiola Tucson Open. We're going to have the 29th renewal of the Senior Bowl, and they've invited some outstanding players we'll be telling you about. Here's Moon on his rollout. That pass off the hands of Ron Rowland, who's gotten down there. Earl Campbell, the Grambling quarterback. Doug Williams, the outstanding player of the East-West game. Oklahoma State running back Terry Miller, the runner-up for the Heisman Trophy. Guy Benjamin, that's Brody's boy.
I think anybody that watched him a few days ago might agree.
He threw 3 touchdown passes against LSU the other day. Ozzie Newsome of Alabama. They have some outstanding players. The Senior Bowl, January 7th on NBC. Punt formation. Aaron Wilson, the punter. And Washington with a 17-point lead was not sitting on it.
That's good thought.
Wide hits and the safety. Hey, they throw a pass. They complete it. Look at this. On they go. They threw the pass to Kyle Stevens. Stevens to the 20. They gamble all the way.
They didn't feel it was a gamble. They had the man standing out there all by himself. It's a matter of throwing the ball for 20 yards and completing it. It surprised me. It surprised everybody in the house. Just a little push pass. Nobody in the area. Time Stevens gets it. He's got no one down there to handle him. They're not satisfied, and they've got good reason not to be.
John, this reminds me of the fake punt that Stanford ran against Michigan in the 1972. Only they ran the ball that time. Washington threw this, and they're ahead 17-0, and they want more.
Well, it's good coaching not to stand around and wait for the momentum to change. They're not waiting around, and that's what happens when you don't.
So we have a timeout with 45 seconds to go. Most teams 17 points ahead with a ball on their own 30 would have run the ball into the line 3 times and punted or tried to pick up a first down running. So what does Washington do? They throw the ball twice, and then on 4th down, they come out and fake punt it and throw a forward pass. They could have lost that ball or had it messed up and given Michigan a chance to score in the last 45 seconds of the half. But they didn't worry about that.
Never occurred to them.
Sports World will premiere on January 22nd. If it's as wild as this Washington football team is here in this second period, you're going to see some real action.
It's pretty wild.
The premiere on Sunday, January 22nd. I have never seen a team more wide open in one period of play than Washington has been in this 1978 Rose Bowl game. They have done everything you can do out there offensively. First down. Warren Moon throws it out, and it is complete to the 15-yard line to the tight end, Scott Greenwood. He's out of bounds, and the clock is stopped with 39 seconds in the half. Washington leading 17-0.
Kurt, these plays are so deceptive. Now, if you recall, the same play action was done, and they gave the ball to Rowland on a draw play. He made the same fake at the same time. Actually, Greenwood didn't get way open, but open enough.
On second down, Moon scampering away, throws on the run, nearly intercepted, not quite. Pass was intended for gains. At number 16, Mike Jolly was there to nearly pick it off. Now the clock is stopped with 32 seconds to go in the half. And a third down, 6 for the University of Washington. They haven't been here 14 years, but they're making up for the lack of not being here the way they're playing in this first half.
They're here now.
Warren Moon on third down. That's picked off by Dwight Hicks. And Hicks is driven out of bounds. Warren Moon, as he let the ball go, his arm was hit. Hicks intercepts the pass intended for Scott Greenwood.
Well, Warren Moon, I do think, got his arm hit. However, he was throwing to a man that actually Dwight Hicks was in perfect position to cover. He had already taken away the area from him, caught it on a dead run, made a big play out of it, so it looks like we're going to go into halftime just as if they'd punted.
It'll be Michigan's ball, first down on their 33. "24 seconds in the half. Dwight Hicks, 2 years a safety man, now the Wolfman linebacker. All Big Ten. Rodney Feaster's gone in as a wide receiver. He can run them deep. Rick Leach throws a short one, completes it to Davis. Davis is brought down on his 47-yard line. 15 seconds to go. Michigan signals for a timeout. Greg Grimes made that tackle.
These two teams are playing as if there's 15 seconds left in the game.
Rick Leach talking to Bo Schembechler.
You know, Bo has adamantly stated several times that Rick Leach is a fine thrower. His stats really do indicate that this year. He's come on from being a fine athlete to an outstanding quarterback. I look for a lot more football out of him in the second half. I'm sure they're just discussing how they possibly can get that ball down the field in 15 seconds to put them in a position for a field goal, tighten this thing up so it's only 2 touchdown difference.
You see Leach's helmet. Many colleges do this. They award stars, or it might be the symbol of a team, little Wolverines, and for being voted for outstanding defensive plays, offensive plays, something outstanding in a game, they put them on the helmet. Now, this is Leach's 3rd year, and as I told you, he already holds more records than any man in the history of Michigan football. His helmet's going to be full before he walks out of there. He may have to wear 2 helmets next year. Alan Mitchell, a wide receiver's in. First down, Michigan on their 47, 17 points behind. And they got to him again. That's Doug Martin, 73. Martin, Bethea, and Browning have been brilliant as a 3-down lineman, flanked by 2 stand-up linebackers.
I get the feeling that Washington is just down here having a ball. I don't know what they've been doing in preparation for this game, but you see all their defensive linemen are getting good penetration. You see Browning forcing the play. He forces Leach out of the pocket. Bethea, he can't go up front. Martin comes in from behind his block and makes a big play.
And you know, John, the outstanding feature of the Michigan team is their veteran offensive line. They have 4 seniors in there and a junior.
And 3 All-Americans.
And that was where they were supposed to have a big advantage today. They would be able to control the running game because of that interior line and move Washington out. They figure Washington, not Michigan's coaching staff, but many fans figured that Washington would be easy to move out of there.
I think Browning, Bethea, and Martin forgot to read that news.
Second down, 15. 9 seconds to go in the half. Michigan has been blanked. Here's the bomb, deep to Clayton, way over his head. 3 seconds to go. Ralph Clayton, the top receiver in the Michigan team with 19 catches. Carl Heinrich, 96. Nesby Glasgow, 23 were back. You never know about a senior ball club, but this is going to be a junior ball club next year. This Washington team, only 4 seniors on the starting team of offense and defense. And Don James, the coach, told me the other day, he said, look, we're a year early. I'll take it.
You
bet. They were pointing for next year.
You bet. And he's got the quality to take a look at a football player, make judgment, and let the guy prove him right. I think he has more confidence in his players than most any coach I've ever seen. There are several outstanding ones, but he certainly exposes his quality.
This should be the last play of the first half. Leach is back as time runs out. Now he throws. He completes it to Clayton. They'll have to contain Clayton, and the half is over. The end of the first half. And a roar for Washington as they go off to score. A stunning upset first half. Washington leading Michigan 17-0. We'll be back with the second half play-by-play. But right now, for the halftime pageantry, let's go down to the floor of the Rose Bowl and to Charlie Jones.
All right, thank you, Kurt. Don't forget the Pac-8. As you know, Stanford won in postseason, USC won in postseason, and right now, Washington is leading Michigan 17-0. And we'll be back with the Washington and Michigan halftime shows and an NBC News Dateline right after these messages from your local station. The University of Washington band is just about ready to start their television halftime show, but before they do, let's now visit the University of Washington in Seattle with Kurt Gowdy.
In more than a century of service to higher education, the University of Washington has developed from a territorial school to one of the outstanding teaching and research institutions of the nation. Founded in 1861 by Seattle pioneers with a vision of a future American gateway to the Pacific. The university reflects a close relationship with the activities and interests of the Pacific Northwest. In addition to strong programs in the sciences and liberal arts, it offers special areas of excellence in health sciences, law, marine resources, Far Eastern studies, and forestry. One of the nation's first Sea Grant colleges, Washington has a faculty which ranks first in federal grant and contract support. An unusual combination of creative scholars and a distinctive natural setting give the University of Washington a unique identity as a center for the discovery and the spreading of knowledge. And that's why Washingtonians say, you're getting something out of it, whether you go there or not.
All right, thank you, Kurt. And right now, let's join the University of Washington Marching Band. score, the University of Washington 17 and Michigan nothing. And those of you who joined the telecast late today might be saying that we have an upset in the making. But those of you who follow Pacific 8 football realize that this is a team that got here over the teams from the University of Southern California, from Stanford, and from UCLA. They might be underrated around the country, but not in the Pac-8. We just saw the University of Washington band show, and we'll be back with a fabulous University of Michigan show. It is titled Encounters, right after these messages from your local station.
Good job.
This 1978 Rose Bowl game is brought to you by Goodyear, developers of such new tire innovations as the new all-season Tiempo radio. By Texaco, who also brings you quality automotive products you can trust. And by your Chrysler Plymouth dealers. See the entire line of fine cars, including Chrysler LeBaron. Don't settle for anything else. And now let's join the Michigan Marching Band.
A sight like close range, no interaction with music, is a close encounter of the first kind. A close encounter of the second kind involves physical evidence, burn marks, and engines stopping. And the most extraordinary involves contact with the occupants of a UFO. A close encounter of the third kind. In 1977, the aircraft were found, intact, in the middle of the Sonora Desert in Mexico. The music of the Sonora Desert and Flight 19, an encounter of the second kind. Most often between the hours of 9 p.m. and 3 a.m. in the months of July, August, and October. As so many have said after an encounter of the first kind, I can't believe it's real. telescopes and space scanners have picked up sounds from outer space which are musical in nature and have definite pitch relationships. The first pitch was a B flat. Next was the tone C, one whole step higher. Next, an A flat, a major third lower. Then the same pitch, A flat, one octave lower. And finally an E flat, a fifth above. Now stand by as we generate these tones and attempt to establish direct communication with the UFO. Respond, if you will, spaceship. And technicians are ready. And now the scientists gather as finally we attempt an encounter of the third kind here at Devil's Tower.
The University of Michigan Marching Band, and right now let's visit the many campuses of the University of Michigan where Kurt Gowdy will take us on a brief tour.
We're waiting for the arrival of both teams to start the second half. Michigan's problem started on a fourth down punting situation when their punter John Anderson downed the ball, trying to field a low snap from center. Washington took it in 49 yards and scored, and that started the barrage. 17 points in the first half. Washington leading. Here are the statistics. First downs about even, rushing even, but look at the passing for Washington with Warren Moon and Spider Gaines teaming up.
Well, Kurt, I think the problem that Michigan has had that they haven't had much during the season is that they haven't had the ball enough. Michigan is a ball-controlled team. Now, it's easy to sit there and say, okay, now they have to open up. But all year long, all their offensive linemen, and they've got some great ones. You know, 10, Donahue, Geisler, Zara, Downing, all these fellas are geared not in the classic cup protection type passing, so they'll continue to roll out and throw the ball. Their whole offense is not structured to be down 17-0. It's going to make it that much more difficult for them. But in order for them to be effective and get back in this ball game, they're going to have to move it on the ground continually.
Washington opened the throttle with every kind of play imaginable, passing on 4th down and a lead in the last 2 minutes of the 4th half on what looked like a sure punting situation. They have had flanker reverses, screens, long passes, every kind of play known. Here's the rest of their squad coming out. And very frankly, they have 40,000 tickets sold to the Washington area, and their fans right now, basking in the sunshine on the far side of the Rose Bowl, are ecstatic. But there's another half to go. And here comes the Michigan team back on the field, and I can imagine what happened in there at halftime. Bo Schembechler doesn't lose much. He has the best record. He's lost only 8 regular season games in the last 9 years. Postseason games have been a problem for him, and he desperately wants this one, and we're going to see if his team can stage a big comeback in the second half. Now, Charlie Jones, I think, has the last second report before we kick off with the second half.
Kurt, I just walked out of the tunnel with Joe Steele. I said, obvious question, how do you feel? He says, I feel fine, the hip feels fine, the ribs are fine, I can play. I said, will you start? He said, that's not up to me, but I can play. Let's go back to Kurt and John.
Now, Charlie was talking about Joe Steele, number 24, who was injured early in this game. He's the top ground gainer in Washington and a breakaway threat. It hasn't mattered that much, though, because the rest of the team has played so well. John, I think the big surprise has been the Washington defense, especially their front three, the rush they have put on Rick Leach when he's attempted to pass.
I think it's been a surprise to some people, but if you live on the West Coast as I do, Kurt, I've seen them play against Stanford. That's an outstanding offensive team. They held them to 21 points, and those were long gainers. I've seen them play against USC. They beat them 28-10. Now, you know what SC did to Texas A&M a couple days ago. I've seen them play against Cal. Cal got 30 points, but they got them after Oregon scored 50. So, in my opinion, Washington, this is in no way an upset. It's an exposure not only of the Pacific 8 Conference, but also a football team that is a totally different football team today than they were at the start of the year.
Greg Wilner is going to kick off. Mark Lee and Kyle Stevens are going to be the 2 deep men for Washington. Stevens nearest to you, Mark Lee on the far side. This is the first time that Washington has received a kickoff in the game. They more than doubled the yardage on Michigan in the first half. And we'll soon see now if Washington continues to move the ball, and Michigan can't move it very well with their offensive line. They are in big, big trouble early in this second half. Stevens on the 5. Back to the 15, to the 20. Finds a crack and plows forward and goes down on the 28-yard line. Kyle Stevens. Washington with a first down. And it looks like Joe Steele is going to open up at tailback. He is the starting tailback. There he is, 24. Warren Moon will be a quarterback, number 1. And right now he is the odds-on favorite to be the player of this game, the way he's played.
There's 30 minutes left. If they had a vote after the first half, there's no doubt.
The fullback is Gibson, 42. The tailback is Steele, 24. In motion. They give the ball to Gibson on a quick hitter, and he's piled up for a yard or 2. Ron Gibson. That's the 10th carry for Ron Gibson. Spot the ball on the 31-yard line of the Huskies. Second down, 8. Their line will be Westland, Foreman, Bush. Bush has been brilliant today at center. Bauer the right guard, Taves the right tackle. Spider Gaines, of course. Briggs the wide receiver. Now Richardson's in there instead of Briggs. Moon fakes it, and they hit him and dropped him for a loss. He was going to throw the ball, nobody open, and he kept it. And he had to eat the ball and take a loss. Ron Simpkins got to him, number 40.
It's a good play, Kurt. you know, when you go in at halftime, you have, in a Rose Bowl game, 25 minutes to discuss strategically what you want to do to stop what the other team has been doing well. Now, you know Michigan is not going to employ the same sort of defense they did in the first half. They will make a few subtle changes. That was one of them. They had Simpkins right in the line of fire. Moon did the right thing and ate the ball.
3rd and 12. Washington on their 26. Richardson going in motion. Moon throwing a running pass right in the hands of Michigan. Mike Jolly has it. And Michigan has the ball deep in Washington territory. Spider Gaines was the intended receiver. Mike Jolly intercepted, and Moon threw the ball right in his hand.
Well, you saw toward the end of the first half, Dwight Hicks came up and made a real big play on a ball that Moon threw. He took away the offensive receiver's pattern. This is the same sort of situation, different man in Jolly, but he comes in and takes the position away. They're the same patterns being called, better defense being implemented. You can see the whole Michigan team rallying around him after he catches the ball. Gaines brings him down, but not before he gets to the 12-yard line.
All right, an early mistake. Michigan anxious to take advantage. Cracking through is Russell Davis. He's been the main ball carrier today. He's hit by Dave Browning, and as they untangle, we pause briefly for identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
Review of events of 77 tonight at 9 on KNBC, Los Angeles.
Kurt Gowdy, John Brody, Charlie Jones in the Rose Bowl. Michigan has the ball on the Washington 9-yard line. 2nd and 7. Washington's leading 17-0. Roosevelt Smith the tailback. Davis bumps his way to the 5-yard line. Hit by the nose guard Cliff Bethea. And Dave Browning right on the 5-yard line of Washington. 3rd down, 3 to go. That's Don James with the cap, the headset. His team, carrying a 17-point lead, has made a costly mistake, maybe early in the second half. The mistake can give some momentum over to Michigan. 3rd and 3. And now Leach says, I can't hear the signal.
What he did is he saw a defense he didn't like. He heard some people start talking. He did the right thing. He called a timeout. That's what should have been called in that situation. This is a crucial play for them, Kurt. They've got 3 yards for a first down, 5 for a touchdown. I think if they get down to where they've only got a yard or less for a first down, they'll go for it on 4th.
Most of the Washington crowd is on the goal line on the far side of the field. 40,000 there. And now the Washington players are asking their fans, come on, let him call the signal. 3rd down and 3. There goes Leach. Leach is stopped, maybe short of a first down by Antoine Richardson and Willie Gulalhu.
It's short, but now what do? They've got about a yard to go for a first and 3 for a touchdown. I think you'll see them go for it.
They're on the 3-yard line. 4th down and a yard to go for Michigan. Davis the fullback, Leach the quarterback. Roosevelt Smith is the tailback. No flags are down. There's a jam. Roosevelt Smith hitting in there, and Washington may have stopped. Bethea, the nose guard in there, 67. I did not see flags drop. It looked like they jumped outside, but they got back again, evidently.
That's where a late count can bite you. What happens is they jump back in time. It throws the offensive lineman a little off key. They get in the middle of the problem, stop it short of the first down.
They have a timeout as Washington huddles in their end zone. They have stopped the big threat by Michigan and the score, 17-0. Washington held their ball on their 3-yard line. First down. leading 17-0. The tailback, Joe Steele, gets the call. He's to the 6-yard line for Dale Kites. The left tackle took him there. One of the outstanding men in this field today has been the nose guard, number 67, Cliff Bethea for the University of Washington.
All three of those guys have just played so far beyond their expectations, other people's expectations, probably very close to their own.
Second down, 7 as the Huskies come up. They've had 2 turnovers today on interception. Michigan 1 on a fumble. Moon runs it out and is knocked down on the 9-yard line. He was going to throw the ball.
He wanted to. They may have to give him a saliva test. But I tell you, the guy has such confidence in himself. It's possibly a good reason they're ahead 17-0. Right now, the burden is on Michigan's defensive line. They've been great all year long. They're in a position where they can really help their whole team now, and it's up to them to dig in.
Warren Moon has had only 1 pass intercepted out of every 28 this year. He's had 2 intercepted in this game. A timeout by Washington, and they were mixed up on a play. They're sending those hand signal plays in, and Moon couldn't fathom just what they wanted to call, so he stepped in and asked for a timeout. And with the timeout, the score again, Washington 17, Michigan nothing. Saturday and Sunday, January 7th and 8th, the Joe Garagiola Tucson Open. This is the first event on the PGA schedule. They had a thriller last year. Bruce Lipsky winning. We'll tell you more about it and the Tucson Open. Right now it's 3rd down and 3. Look at that. Joe Steele. Warren Moon started out to his left and handed off to Steele, who cracked through. Steele was brought down by Jerry Meter and Jim Pickens.
Now here's a chance for Michigan's defensive line, who has been outplayed throughout this ball game, to really pick up and help their whole club. You see why they want to have Joe Steele back in the game. It's the same sort of rollout draw play they used effectively in the first half. He picks up about 12 big ones in a first down.
Hey, he's strong, 201 pounds. He says he runs pigeon-toed, bow-legged.
Doesn't matter. He seems to go forward.
That's Richardson in motion. First down, Washington on their 22. Steele again. Just started to go somewhere, and then he was napped. He's hit there by Ron Simpkins.
I'll tell you, the offensive line for Washington's done an outstanding job. Perfect indication. You see Phil Foreman pulling. You see Gibson coming in to help out Tays. They create a hole about 5 yards wide, and that's what a running back loves.
Second down. 4 to go. Washington just short of their 28. Moon, a quick pass. Oh! Touchdown in the clear for Dwight Hicks. The ball was thrown hard and high. He dashed in there. He's the wolf man, and he had clear sailing to the goal line, but he couldn't hold on.
He's playing situations, Kurt, very well. You saw him pick one off at the end of the first half. He was on that ball the whole way. While Moon was looking to the right side, he was already moving into position, almost picked it off in a dead run.
Washington's already thrown an interception deep in their own territory in this period, and nearly had another one there. They're ahead 17-0. 8:25 to go in the third period. Moon, out it goes. It's complete to Scott Greenwood, the tight end. And he's brought down by Jerry Meter, 46, and that'll be a Washington first down.
Kurt, this is more than Washington has thrown the ball all year long, particularly on first and second downs. They know it's extremely difficult to penetrate the defense of Michigan consistently. They've done it both on top and on the ground, and you get the feeling you don't know what's coming next.
All right, the Huskies set up first down on their 35. Joe Steele, this time going off the left side of his line. Piled up on the 38-yard line by Ron Simpson, and what a sophomore linebacker he is. There's the equivalent on the other side, Jackson, Michael Jackson, number 5. He's a junior. 3 times this year voted the Pac-8 Defensive Player of the Week and twice nationally won the top defensive honor.
And he's trying to keep his group pumped up. He knows this ball game is still in the hat and a long way from over.
Second down, 7 for Washington on the 38-yard line in their own territory. Joe Steele out in motion. Here's a rollout pattern. Moon keeps the ball and is dragged down on his 41-yard line. Turning upfield. When he has that sprint out pattern, he has the option to throw the ball or run it, much like the old single-wing tailback, John.
You bet, and he's not going very deep, you know, so he's going to cut under a little more often than he would if he were rolling a bit deeper. Steve Graves is really putting a burden. Corey Bush is on him like a blanket. That time he got away from Corey and made the only tackle that was available.
But this is a nifty drive for the Washington fans. Their team started on the 3-yard line. They're up to the 41, and they're using the clock with a 17-0 lead. Second man through. Look at that hole for Steele. He's still going. Joe Steele, a sophomore. Brought down by Derek Howard deep in the Michigan secondary.
Hey, this boy's hip may hurt tomorrow, but today it's got to feel fine. They're giving him all the running room a back can possibly ask for. Good handoff to Gibson underneath. Here comes Foreman out again. Bush cutting off what he can. I'll tell you, Taves is moving people out on his side of the line, and Steele's picked up big yardage 3 times to the right.
Washington now on Michigan's 39-yard line. First down.
There he goes again.
There goes Steele again. This time to the left. They run him right. They run him left. He has one thing I like to see in the back. He's always leaning forward, going for that extra yardage.
I tell you, he's got what a back likes to see, too. That's a hole. The last 3 times, his offensive line has just blown people out of there. He's picking up 8 and 10 a crack. Those defensive backs got all the work they can handle right now.
Second down, a yard to go. Washington's offensive line blasting away at Michigan. And Joe Steele running brilliantly is in motion. Second down, a yard to go. Quick butt through by Ron Gibson. And he should have the first down. Inside the Michigan 30 to the Michigan 28-yard line. And they say move him down. So there's another first down. And what a drive this is by the Huskies. They're on the Michigan 28. We're talking about that Tucson Open. That was a thriller you had last year, wasn't it, John?
I'll tell you, when you watch Litsky hold it from about 95 feet as Gene Littler's preparing to eke out a win with a 12-foot birdie, it could be the same again this year.
New fullback in the game. Moon goes deep. There's Gaines. Got it! Touchdown! He's hurt. He ran into the stands down there.
I tell you, that man has come up with a big play when it's been needed. Moon made a perfect play number fake. They've had such excellent pass protection when they've needed it because they've been able to move the ball on the ground. It doesn't look like Gaines is getting up, and that is a blow, but a 23-point lead has to help.
Here he's up. He's up. Now, you want to see a real receiver and a real throw, watch this play.
Hey, the man, as Don James said, he doesn't know how good he can be. We see Derek Howard down there in good position. Pickens coming over. He just outruns the cover. Gets him a touchdown. These guys are running away with the ball game.
What a drive. 97 yards by Washington. And how often is that done against powerful Michigan? Look at the average. Spider Gaines, 4 catches, 122 yards. Another man came into the Rose Bowl here back in 1935. Don Hudson. And caught 6 passes for 164 yards. The kick is good. And now it's 24-0 Washington. And there is the junior wide receiver that everybody will know about after this game. Spider Gaines. Timeout. Washington 24. Michigan nothing. Let's take a look now at a classic college passing touchdown play.
I'll tell you, Washington is in total control. When he goes back to throw the ball, he's got 2 or 3 steps. You can get the ball away and complete it that way. He did the Spider Gaines for a 23-0 lead. Now it's 24. When Leach goes back to throw, he's got the defensive front 4 of Washington all over him, and that is really the story of the ball game.
97 yards. Washington stopped Michigan on their 3 and then took it the rest of the way. It's coming to Clayton's. Clayton out to the 10, to the 20, And he swarmed under. Wayne Roach made the tackle. Let's go down to Charlie Jones.
Kurt, the Rose Bowl crowd was hushed. You know what it was? It ended up, it's a scraped elbow for Spider Gay. He's all right, okay?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'll be all right. Hope to be back in there. I got a little problem with cramps in my leg, but I hope the cramps will be all right.
Okay, Spider, let's go upstairs.
I'll tell you something, Spider. There's a few other people got cramps in their legs, and it's on the other side when they're trying to run you down. What an incredible average he's had. Over 30 yards a catch today. All right, Michigan comes right back. Stanley Edwards, the freshman tailback, trying to reach the 25-yard line, is short there. Stopped by Bethea and Galoha. You won't see a better drive than that. 97 yards against one of the best teams in the country. And they just have Michigan off balance. Michigan doesn't know whether they're going to run, inside, outside, or pass. Schembechler looking at the clock, frustrated. Hasn't been able to win in postseason games. Leach is going to put it up. There's a man wide open. He's got the ball. That's Stevenson. Kurt Stevenson, he's on the way. And Stevenson scores. And Michigan gets a quick touchdown. And that one was 76 yards for Michigan.
Leach did an excellent job of picking out the right man. Stevenson got away from the defensive cornerback. Kyle Heinrich was trying to come over. However, the field was so well spread out. As you can see, here we go. They're trying to get back in the ball game. It's far from over yet. Stevenson just runs by the defensive cornerback. Heinrich's coming over trying to catch him. Grimes is on the run. It's all futile. 76 yards is a long way to go, but he makes it.
Kurt Stevenson was a walk-on, did not come in with a scholarship. All right, let's see what they do here. 24-6. And the kick is up, and it is good by Greg Wilner. That makes it 24-7. And Michigan's going to have to pull off big plays like that to get back in with 4:31 remaining in the third quarter. The score, Washington 24, Michigan 7. Looking down on Washington spreading out. They've just had 2 touchdowns in the space of about 30 seconds. Kicking off will be Greg Wilner, Mark Lee, and Kyle Stevens. We'll be back. That's the story of the Wolverines scoring drive. Kurt Stevenson, a California boy, has scored the touchdown for Michigan. Coming to Stevens on the 3. He's out to the 15, to the 20, spins away at the 30, 40, 50, and down. Michael Jolly saved the touchdown when he nailed him out of bounds.
The Huskies have had a lot of times when they could have concerned themselves with becoming conservative. Their blocking up front is just miraculous. The whole wedge this time creates a hole. Stevens gets the ball. He just picks the hole. He's got it. He gets a little bump along the way, and he's out in the open.
And this is a 53-yard return by Kyle Stevens. Washington's ball on the Michigan 44. Briggs is back in the game, Gary Briggs. That's Joe Steele. He's to the 39-yard line. He's a slashing type runner.
I bet you he is. I'll tell you, Roger Westland, Phil Foreman, Blair Bush, these guys continue to push Michigan's defensive line back.
Second down 5. Piloting the 192-foot blimp today is Nick Nicolari, who hails from Los Angeles. Second and 5. And over the 35 to the 34 is Ron Gibson. They run him mostly inside the tackles, although he has the speed to get outside. Mel Owens, the inside linebacker, made the tackle on him. They're going to measure. They've asked for the sticks with 3:43 to play in the third quarter. Notre Dame knocked off Texas today, 38-10. Alabama won handily over Ohio State, 35-6. Coming up next, the Orange Bowl. Poised are Oklahoma and Arkansas. Two teams, each lost only one game, that to Texas. I don't believe you'll see a swifter team in football than the entire Oklahoma squad. First down, Washington. 34-yard line of Michigan. There's that quick handoff again to Ron Gibson. And that time he's hit by Curtis Greer, the right tackle. Washington's got a little more conservative now. Don James talking upstairs to one of his assistant coaches. It's on the 30-yard line of Michigan. Second down, 6.
Conservative maybe, but no less aggressive. They're moving the ball on the ground. There's no reason to stop.
Spider Gaines, flank left. Gary Briggs to the right. Moon on a rollout pattern. Throws the ball, completes it. It'll be a first down. Scott Greenwood, the tight end. Took 3 men to get him out of bounds. Right hits, Jim Pickens were on him. Now while they line him up in the yardsticks, I want to remind you the Bob Hope All-Star Tribute to the Palace Theater will be Sunday, January 8th, 8 to 9:30 Eastern Time. The guests, Sammy Davis Jr., George Burns, Steve Lawrence, Edie Gourmet, and Carol Lawrence on NBC Sunday, January 8th. First down, 13-yard line of Michigan. Washington off to Steele. And Steele hitting off his right tackle to the 9-yard line of Michigan, where he was taken by Derek Howard and Mel Owens.
Even though it looked as if he was hit at the line of scrimmage, he still picked up about 4 yards, Kurt.
Now he just has that momentum going forward all the time.
And the reason he's got it again, I hate to overplay it, but it's the story of the ball game. His offensive line keeps knocking people out of there.
Second down. 6.5. To the 6-yard line is Ron Gibson on that quick hitter. It hasn't looked like much, but it's been effective, 3 or 4 yards. On the tackle, Jim Pickens, the safety man. Let's mark it to 7. They have third down, 4. 2 tight ends, Rudy Marega, Scott Greenwood in the lineup now for Washington. We're in the last 2 minutes of play of the third period. The score 24-7, Washington. They nail him that time. Moon was trying to come out from behind the center, maybe to run a rollout or hand off on a dive tackle play, and Dale Kites, 55, made a good charge there.
Here we go. This is the way you have to make plays in order to penetrate a team like Washington. On the right side, their offensive line is doing a fine job. But Dale Kites gets in between 2 blockers and pulls Moon down before the play can get started.
Moon was going to hand off, Johnny. Very wisely pulled that ball back in again. If he tried to hand off on the impact, he would have fumbled. A field goal attempt now by Steve Robbins. This will be a 27-yard attempt. The kick is up, and the kick is good. Robbins has booted his second field goal, a 30-yarder and a 27-yarder, as the Huskies pad their lead by 3 more points. We're in the last 50 seconds now of the third period. Washington 27 and Michigan 7. Dynamic duo that premieres January 27th. Going to be hosted by John Brody, so let's have him tell us all about it.
Well, I tell you, if you'd like to see Arnold Palmer with the oxygen level very low, with Raymond Floyd, I think one of the best money players in the game of golf, trying to compete with an Eddie Arcaro and a Willie Shoemaker and Jim Brown and Jim Taylor, I think you're going to enjoy it.
Again, premiering January 22nd. Just ahead of another premiere of a new show on NBC, Sports World. The kickoff by Robbins. Squibs it. Pounding ball. Clayton has it. Up to the 15, to the 20. And down on his 22-yard line. Michigan's ball, first down. And they have 15 minutes, 44 seconds to put on a furious rally. It's a happy gang down there in that Husky bench. Rick Leach sets him down. That's the freshman, Stanley Edwards, and he stopped at the 26. Let me repeat again that Harlan Huckabee, the star tailback and a would-be starter here today, did not even suit up because of a pulled hamstring muscle. He's had one of those hard luck years. He's been injured most of the time. On the 26-yard line in Michigan, they have a second down and 4. Kurt Marsh, that pass receiving tight end, has gone in. 7 and 6. Leach will throw. Out it goes. Complete to Ralph Clayton, leading receiver on the team. And they have a first down on their 45-yard line. Kyle Heinrich and Lance Todale making the stop on the 45-yard line.
Clayton made a fine route there, Kurt. He went down kind of under control, just kind of cut through the defensive linebackers, and Leach put it right on the money.
That's Antoine Richardson, who is injured right now. The outside linebacker, they're helping him up. He'll go off the field with 1 second. You know, the Big Ten Conference, the Pac-8, and the Tournament of Roses announced this week an allocation of $10,000 for the rehabilitation of the Evansville College basketball program. And these three, by the way, gave $10,000 in 1971 to Marshall and Wichita State in the air tragedies involving their football team. That is the end of the third quarter. The end of the third quarter in the Rose Bowl. Washington 27, Michigan 7. This is Kurt Gowdy, John Brody, Charlie Jones as we go into the fourth period. Michigan trailing by 17, or by 20, 27-7. From their own 45-yard line. Straight handoff, stopped by Doug Martin and Cliff Bethea. On the 47 now, the Wolverines, second down 8. Well, we're into that last quarter. I wonder who will be voted the outstanding player of the game. Last year was quarterback Vince Evans of Southern Cal, John Scherer, UCLA the year before, Pat Hayden in 75, John McKay. There's some great names that won the award. Leach out of the pocket. Goes down on the 49-yard line of Michigan. Hit by Cliff Bethea again, who has been some player out there as a nose guard.
Now, this time, Leach had plenty of time to throw, but the defensive secondary wasn't in the mood to give him anybody open. Now, you see the respect that they've gained for Bethea as the ball game has gone on. He's standing out there. He's got Donahue, Walt Downing. This time he handles him by himself, but you can see Donahue standing around picking up. Everybody's got their attention on number 67.
Third down 7. Michigan from their 49. Early in the fourth period. Leach. It is complete at the 44-yard line of Washington for a first down. Glasgow drove Rick White to split in, 84 out of bounds. And the markers down. There's Warren Moon. He may be a strong candidate today for player of the game. How about some of these other men? O.J. Simpson won it in 68. Jim Plunkett in 71. Sam Cunningham, 73. The only man to ever win the award twice. What a story he was. We'll tell you about it in a minute. First down. Michigan on the Washington 44. Leach will throw again. Flares it out. Goes to the 40, to the 35, and down in the 34, Stanley Edwards, the freshman, hit by Michael Jackson, number 5. And that may be another Michigan first down. Schembechler watching the clock, listening at the same time, sending subs into the game. A desperate situation for his team. they're going to measure. Well, they do. The only man to ever win the Player of Award twice in this game was a one-eyed quarterback named Bob Slurett of the University of Washington. He won it in 1960 and 1961. They're short by a foot. Bob Slurett. Great story up there at Seattle. Brought his team in here and led them to 2 victories. What? 105-312 is the official paid attendance today. 105-312. Stanley Edwards has the first down to the 31-yard line of Washington, where he's stopped by Galoa and Antoine Richardson, Michigan.
Kurt, you'll notice Michigan's moving the ball very well now. They had a 76-yard touchdown from Leach to Stevenson. They only had the ball in the third quarter for a little bit over 4 minutes. Now, Washington's offense is the thing that's going to dictate it, even though Michigan can move the ball offensively. They have to get the ball back in order to score.
First down for the Wolverines. Here's the pitch out to Edwards. Edwards running it inside the 20. Is knocked down to the 19 by Kyle Heinrich, the free safety, number 96. This was a type of running game that everyone thought Michigan would display early, control the ball, and jump into an early lead, but they haven't done it.
Right now they're doing what people anticipated because they're picking up yardage running the ball. It's a situation that Washington can almost afford to allow Michigan to persist.
Time remaining in the game, 12.5 minutes. 27-7 Washington. Reverse. Cutting to the 15 is Ralph Clayton, the wingback. And he gets down to the 13-yard line where he was tackled by Doug Martin, the left tackle of Washington. With aid. There's a Husky howling with glee.
It's a little more like a coyote.
Oh. I think he needs a throat spray.
You know he's been yelling.
He's worn out shooting for those Husky touchdowns. Leach, left-hander, guns it, completes it to Davis. First and goal to go. Michigan now is at the 2-yard line. Greg Grimes dropped Russell Davis, who's been the leading ball carrier in the game. Davis on the ground has 64 yards. Check that, Steele has 73, and Steele has played very little in this game.
I think the effective thing right there was the way Rick Leach went out looking for Stevenson in the corner of the end zone. He was well covered. He came back to his secondary receiver, Davis, right away and put the ball exactly where it had to be thrown.
First and goal to go. Leach now 9 out of 16. Wolverines on the Husky 2-yard line. And Davis dives it in. Russell Davis scores. Michigan has come up with 2 touchdowns in a row.
Washington's been doing a great job of defense. At the end of the third quarter, and in this quarter particularly, the drives that Michigan put together, this one was outstanding. This is what people have been accustomed to watching Michigan do. They just capsuled it by a little 1-yard jump.
And the kick by Greg Wilner is good. Throw a timeout. Michigan still hustling. The score, Washington 27, Michigan 14. Oklahoma goes into the Orange Bowl tonight, ranked 2nd in the country. Texas lost today. A big Oklahoma win. Alabama won handily. Notre Dame. The pollsters will decide it later, but Oklahoma has a great shot. For the national title, it'll be on NBC immediately following the Rose Bowl game. All right, let's watch Michigan. Will they have the onside kick, or will they kick it deep and then bank on their defense to hold? They're going to kick it high. Coming to Kyle Stevens. They reverses the ball. Spider Gaines has it. There's a clip. There's a clipping penalty. Flag has been dropped. Washington has unloaded everything today in an offensive arsenal you could.
They have pulled out all stops, Kurt. They know that's a very dangerous play down there. There's only one way you can get the ball inside your 10-yard line. That's on a reverse. Just as it gets formed, they're trying to set up a wall. Gaines can't get to it. You can see they give it to Gaines. He's had everything going his way. This is the first time as Jim Pickens gets picked off. However, he is not the man that was clipped. And Mike Jolly brings him down.
Well, right now, Washington has the ball on the 5-yard line. Ahead, 27-14. Time remaining, 11-13. Long way to go. And Michigan now will try to force that mistake. Moon to Joe Steele. Steele comes out to the 7-yard line, where he was stopped by Jim Pickens and Derek Howard. Washington had the ball one time on their 3-yard line, stopping Michigan, and then went 97 yards with it for a touchdown.
They are put to the test now.
2nd down 8. The 2-touchdown underdog Huskies in the lead. They're now trying to hold on. Riggs in motion. Steele again. Steele's out to the 10. Ron Simpkin, the brilliant inside linebacker of Michigan, brought him down there. They have a 3rd down 5 on their own 10-yard line.
You know, we're sitting up here thinking, hey, maybe they're trying to hold on. You'd never know it down there. They've shown no indication of trying to hold on. They're just trying to increase it.
Don James, expressionless, hopes his club can get the 1st down on this play. Moon pitches out. They stop him. 8-yard line. Joe Steele hit by the halfback. The cornerback, Derek Howard, came up and stopped that play all the way. Number 10. Now a punt formation, and probably the weakest phase of the Washington game is their punting. They averaged only 35 yards a kick this year, and it's been erratic. Mike Jolly and Dwight Hicks are the safety men. And when Michigan gets the ball back again, they're going to be in good field position.
With a little over 9 minutes to do something.
Well, this one's not over yet. Here's the punt. Nice kick. Floating to Hicks in the 50. 45 and down on the 44-yard line. Michigan has the ball in Washington territory. 9 minutes to play. Timeout. The score. Washington 27, Michigan 14. All right, Michigan out. They've been a strong 4th quarter club all year. Their ball on the Washington 44. Leach on the keeper. Now getting away. Throws. And he completes it, but for short yardage. Hits Rick White. Leach got away from about 3 on-rushing linemen. Lance Toto made the tackle on Rick White. The play, after all that scrambling, picked up a yard.
Well, Rick White is a wide receiver. He went down the field 12 or 13 yards. Did the wise thing. Had Rick not been able to find White, he'd have been dropped for about an 18-yard loss. That's a sign of a good receiver, even though it picked up a yard.
Kurt Stevenson checks into the Michigan huddle. Time 8.5 to go. 27-14. Washington in the lead. Black left formation. Clayton in motion. Leach on the pitch out. They seal him down. Roosevelt Smith is hit by John Curley, the strong side linebacker, number 34.
I'll tell you think he's not pumped up. Both he and Richardson, the 2 outside linebackers from Washington, have a big job in front of him. Bethea forces the pitch. When he does, he's got good pursuit by Doug Martin. Curley standing out there to turn it in. And 4 or 5 other fellas are waiting to see what happens.
All right, it's 3rd and 19. Now, do you go all out and rush him? Or do you rush 3 men and drop back and look for the deep one?
Well, offensively, you're going to put that thing up in the air, I believe. That's very predictable. They've done pretty well with 3 men. I don't think they're going to blitz.
They're not. Leach is firing deep. That ball's way overthrown. And Michigan now is facing a 4th and 19. That was Ralph Clayton. Number 22 they were trying to get the ball to. Now you watch that bench and you see them keep looking up at that clock. It's their enemy now. 7:29 to go. Every play, Schembechler's looking up. Hunt formation. John Anderson. Neil Glasgow, the safety man. Watch out here. Washington faked the punt earlier and ran or passed for a first down. He's going to punt it. Lost it high. Fair catch call. And it's skipping in for the touchback. It'll be Washington's ball, first down on their 20. No flags are down. There's a timeout. The score, Washington 27 and Michigan 14. Underdog in the game is in front by 13. And every year, the Big Ten team comes in as a favorite and has gone out of here a loser 8 of the last 10 years. It's been a reversal of form, and we'll talk about that. On first down, the pitch goes to Rowland. Rowland is being chased out of bounds for a loss on the 18. 12 of the first 13 games between the Big Ten and the Pac-8 Conference were won by the Big Ten. I don't mean only one, I mean one handily. And many people thought that the Pacific Coast Conference should get out of the agreement. And then matters turned around, and now it's gone the other way. It's the Pac-8 winning. And it's either been Ohio State or Michigan out here, of course. And they go through with ease their own conference, and then it doesn't seem no matter who they're playing here, they run into real problem. Here's a screen pass. Complete to Gibson. Great catch by him. He's to the 29, and he stopped there short of a first down. I think what we're really getting down to, watch this grab here by Gibson.
Well, they've been throwing that ball around in the Pacific Coast Conference as long as it's been in existence. I'm sure the weather has something to do with the style of attack, but you know a man has to practice doing this before he's effective at it. They've got good coordination, and he picks up almost the first down. It's 3rd and 1 yard to go. We'll get back into the rest of that thought in a second.
3rd down and a yard to go. Bethea, he has played some game at middle guard. Been a standout for Washington. Moon throws on the run. And nearly into the hands of a Michigan man. That was intended for Greenwood. On 3rd and 1, he fired that ball. It nearly went into Mike Jolly's arms for an interception. 6:28 to play. This is the first time Washington's been here since the Rose Bowl game of '64. It's been USC, UCLA, Stanford a couple of times. But no matter who's here from this conference, they have shown a well-balanced team, wide open in passing and running.
Well, it's my opinion, Kurt, that these odds are made by people who expect certain things without taking into consideration the strength of the respective conferences. I don't think this is an upset that's taking place, and I think we alluded to that in the first of the program. And the game is not over either. I expected a close game, and there's still a good chance it's going to be one.
That's Hicks going down to his 30-yard line. So Michigan has the ball with 6:19 to go. Ohio State was handled easily today by Alabama, 35-6. So when this afternoon is over, it is not going to be a joyful day for the Big Ten unless Michigan can put on a miracle rally in the last 6:19 of this ball game. And here's your score with a timeout. Washington 27, Michigan 14. Michigan's ball, the time remaining in the game at the top of your screen. They're on their own 30-yard line. And trailing by 13. Draw play. Russell Davis for 2. 2nd down 8. Bruce Harrell made the tackle, the inside linebacker.
Don't think you'll see many more draw plays, Kurt. It's a good way to start a drive on occasion, and I wouldn't second guess it. But this play took up 30 seconds. They don't have 30 seconds to waste.
Don James. He'll go home a hero to Seattle. His first 2 years there, he broke even. Now he has a recruiting program going. They'll be a co-favorite with UCLA for the Pac-10 next year. Leach out. There's a good grab at the 41-yard line. Glasgow hanging on Ralph Clayton, number 22. That's a first down for Michigan.
I think, Kurt, you've seen a pretty good indication as to why Michigan hasn't been able to throw the ball too well. Glasgow is a cornerback that came all the way to the middle of the field that time with Clayton. It had to be a perfect throw to get there, and it was.
On July 1st, Arizona State and Arizona go into this conference in the West. It'll be called the Pacific 10 or the Pac-10 Conference. And both those teams will be eligible for the Rose Bowl next year. Leach on the run to the 45 and to the 40. This outstanding junior still has another year. Doug Martin made the tackle on him. The clock is moving down to 5 minutes to play. It'll be second down, a yard to go. Wolverines on the Washington 50. Arizona State will bring in a good football program, and so will Arizona U.
It seems to be of the same type, too. They're high-scoring football teams with a lot of flankers and running backs, and they're tough to stop.
They must play 7 conference opponents to qualify for the Rose Bowl, and they will. Leach, the bomb to Clayton, over his head. Incomplete, covered by Nesby Glasgow, the junior of Linwood, California.
Oftentimes you'll see a team scout another team, and they must have had the feeling coming into today's game that they could beat Glasgow deep. They've tried it 4 times. They've been unsuccessful on each occasion. And I think in Glasgow's defense, he's also covered the wide receivers tight when they go in toward the middle.
With the ball on the 50-yard line, the Wolverines desperate now. Third down and a yard to go. 4 minutes, 38 seconds to play. Breaking through to the 45 of Washington is Russell Davis. Now they move the yardsticks down as soon as they plant them and set them up again. Greg Grimes in that last tackle. Schembechler still urging his team on. They look up at the clock. And it's starting again. 4.5 minutes to go.
He's urging them on like, quicker, guys, quicker.
Out, out, out. First down. Leach pumping short and completing it inside the 35. Glasgow makes the catch again on Clayton. Been an effective pattern. Clayton going down and then slanting over the middle.
I think, again, we're seeing the illustration. Here Glasgow covers him down deep. Now, this play is not poor coverage. It's an excellent throw by Leach to put him in just put the ball the only place it can be thrown to Clayton with Glasgow all over the top of him.
Wolverines first down, racing the clock. 4 minutes to play. Michigan on the march. The option play. The pitch out to Edwards. Edwards is ground out of bounds. Stanley Edwards, the freshman, taken out by John Curley and Bruce Harold. And these linebackers, actually Michael Jackson was figured to be in more tackles today than the others, but Curley and Harold have made more tackles than Michael Jackson.
And I think the reason being is both Antoine Richardson and Curley have been in the play more. They've been trying to run the ball wide with options, any type of way to get outside. That doesn't give your inside linebackers quite as much action, and these guys have been up to the task.
There's one man that did not underrate Washington, Bo Schembechler. Leach going on the run, out there, running away. Edwards for a touchdown. And we may have quite a windup. Stanley Edwards.
That is excellent execution by Rick Leach. Edwards has been playing a fine game, but Leach has really brought them back in this ball game. The defensive coverage has been fine. The pass rush has still forced him out of the pocket on several occasions. That being one in particular. He's found the receiver, he's hit him, and he's brought him back in the ball game.
27-20 now. They're going to try for the point. They mess it up, and it's no good. They got it messed up on the snap. And if they score again,
they've got to go for 2 the next time. I don't think Bo plays for a tie.
Kurt Stevenson is a holder.
All right, the ball slips through his hand a little bit. As the kicker goes up, he sees it's not down. It's a little too late to go back and start over. Never did get above the heads of the linemen.
And let's watch the touchdown. The broken play Leach hitting the freshman.
Here
Stanley Edwards.
Here you see Bethea forcing Leach out of the pocket again. As he does, he's looking for anything to open up. He finds Edwards down there behind the secondary all by himself, and that tightens the old game up.
And Howe, still a long way to go. 3:44, 27-20 now. Washington had a 27-7 lead.
You know, oftentimes, Kurt, a team will get defensive and conservative. It hasn't been the case with Washington. They've thrown out all stops. It's just been fine execution on the part of Michigan's offense.
Of course, the wildest game we ever had here in the Rose Bowl was the USC-Wisconsin game. That was finished in the dark, 42-37. USC won it and left the game holding their sides. Ron Vanderkellen nearly pulled it out. Wisconsin was behind 42-14 late in the third quarter in that game.
This one's exciting enough for me, pal.
Kyle Stevens is going to down it for the touchback. Michigan has its full complement of timeouts. Washington has 2 left. Ball will be brought out to the 20-yard line. First down for Washington. And what looked like a breeze in, Michigan has hung in, has come back now and scored 2 successive touchdowns. It's up to their defense now. And it's up to Washington to keep the ball and move it. That last drive, 70 yards, 8 plays. Two turnovers against Washington, 1 against Michigan today. Warren Moon puts him down. Gives the ball to Ron Gibson. Joe Steele is injured, will not be back. Jerry Meter, the linebacker, stopped him. Meter, along with Simpkins, have been tough on the inside of that linebacking core. Second down, 8 to go. Washington with long huddles. Just over 3 minutes to play. Moon throws. And he's out of bounds. He's out of bounds.
Kind of fun to watch, though, don't you think?
He's going.
Not too much pursuit. They're all back down there at the 20.
He stepped out of bounds. They'll bring it back. Jim Pickens chasing him. They were playing one-on-one for their own amusement.
It amused about 100,000 others, too, though. Maybe we can catch. Here you go. You see, they know the position they're in. They've got to pick up a first down. He puts the ball out to the left side, right by the sideline. On the money. And we see the foot slide out of bounds, and the play is dead.
On the 25-yard line of Washington. Third down and 5. John, a lot of fans are going to be asking, how could he be passing into the flat? Isn't that too dangerous?
It isn't if you don't have somebody real close covering.
Third and 5. He's going to throw again. And this one is incomplete and nearly picked off by Mike Jolly. That was intended for number 81, Gary Briggs. And now Michigan has a shot.
I'd like to express my opinion. It would be pretty easy to criticize somebody when there's 7 minutes left throwing on 3rd and 1, but that's how they got ahead where they were. And for them to come in and start saying, oh gosh, now we got 8 minutes, we got to protect the lead, in my opinion, is the wrong way to go. And they may end up not being as effective, having gone for things that otherwise that some people think they shouldn't have. It's my opinion they're doing the best things.
They had a 3rd and 1 situation and passed and missed on it, and then had to punt. And then Michigan came back and scored. All right, this is the freshman, Wilson, punting. A fair catch is called by Hicks on the 37. Time remaining, 2:56. Washington looked to be safely in as the Rose Bowl Kings of 78.
There's a
now
penalty.
they're calling this one back. We've had very few penalties today. They're talking to Hicks. Let's see what this one's about. This must be against Washington. It's a legal procedure against Washington. while they mark it off, we'll pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
Review of events of 77 tonight at 9 on KNBC, Los Angeles.
Kurt Gowdy and John Brody, and now Washington must punt again. And the freshman, Aaron Wilson, had a good punt his last time. Now Schembechler smells that they can get this one.
That's just good percentage play. That kick went about 43 or 4 yards. He hasn't kicked many that long.
Michigan has 7 men on the line of scrimmage. The kick is coming to Hicks at the 40, and he's down on the 42-yard line. It'll be Michigan's ball, first down on their 42. Time remaining, 2 minutes, 46 seconds, and the game now is tightened. There it is, 27-20. And a blown extra point could be very important.
Well, I think it changes the strategy, Kurt.
It's going to force Michigan to go for a
two-pointer. They have to. Otherwise, they could have won the ball game with an extra point. They've still got 58 yards to go for a touchdown, but they do have enough time to get it.
Up they come. These Michigan fans have awakened here now in the last 5 minutes. Leach fires. Great grab. Tremendous catch by Ralph Clayton. That's 3 he's caught here in the 4th period.
You know, it is amazing. He shielded off very well, but Leach has put the ball in the only place it can be thrown. Lance Todell has him covered like a blanket. Watch him go down, feel his way in the middle of the field, in between the linebackers. Now, if Leach throws the ball on the other side and doesn't force Clayton to come back, it's an incompletion or an interception.
And who says Rick Leach can't pass and bring him back? He's certainly done that. There goes Davis. Davis is inside the 35 to the 32-yard line of Washington, hit by Michael Jackson. We're down to 2:15 to play. Michigan trailing 27-20 has made a furious comeback here late in the 4th quarter, and it's all been in the last half of the 4th quarter. Look at James. He hasn't changed expression since the opening kickoff. 2nd down, a yard to go. Leach on the option. Out it goes to Edwards. Edwards is driven out of bounds. Stanley Edwards, the freshman who scored the last Michigan touchdown on the pass, is knocked out of bounds by Nesby Glasgow. The ball will be spotted on the 27-yard line of Washington. There's your time, 1:47. And if Washington holds on, they're probably going to hold on down around their goal line to wind up this dramatic Rose Bowl game.
If they hold on, I think the state of Washington may fall down here in California. I know a lot of my family lives up there. I know up in Spokane, they're holding on to the edge of their seats.
First down. Leach running out of the pocket. Going to go to the sideline. He's out of bounds. He's got a big gain, though. He can scramble, and he's helping that club and himself by being able to scramble out of that pocket.
He's doing it all just the same way Warren Moon did the first 2.5 quarters. He's brought him back. It's awfully tough when you're playing away from home to get into a position where you're down by 20 points, rally your club to where with 1.5 minutes left to play, you've got a chance to get them in and kick a 2-pointer and win the football game. You see Edwards come out, help him block. He gets it out of bounds, and they've still got 1:39.
He picked up 8 yards of that last carry. Now the Michigan fans are roaring on their feet. Leach looking deep in the end zone. Oh, just off the hands of Ralph Clayton. Clayton has caught 3 tough ones in this 4th period, and he just missed that one.
That pass was well thrown. Leach puts the ball over the secondary man. In this case, it was Lance Todell. It's Clayton's job to get to it. He played the ball perfectly, gave himself the only chance to get it. Somehow he didn't hold on.
Schembechler knows his team must get a first down. They're 3rd and 2. They've got their timeouts left. There's Leach optioning out to Edwards. He has the first down. And he's inside the 10. He's out of bounds on the 8. And just a sub finish here. Michigan miraculously behind 27-7.
The whole year just goes down to whether Washington can hold them from 8 yards out, and if Michigan can continue to put it to them. They have come back like nobody I've seen.
The freshman, Stanley Edwards, has scored a touchdown, has run it 11 yards, and went out of bounds to stop the clock. 1 minute, 28 seconds to go. Leach is going to throw. Out it goes. It is intercepted. Intercepted by Washington. Michael Jackson intercepts number 5. Look at the Washington team. They're all out on the field.
We're liable to have them joined by about 50,000 fans, too. This game is far from over, Kurt. Michigan still has a few timeouts left.
There is still 1 minute, 21 seconds to go. Michael Jackson. Don James now finally shows a little emotion.
Well, don't think it hasn't been going on internally. Rick Leach comes back with a play-action pass. I actually thought the receiver had the ball. He puts it down just to the outside shoulder. It looks as if Stanley Edwards has the ball. It gets caught on the top of his helmet. Jackson, watching the ball, comes in, takes it away from the back shoulder, and that is a miraculous interception.
He led the Washington team in interceptions and in deflected passes. Next year, in preseason, here it is again. And listen, Edwards might have taken that ball, run right to the flag, and gone in with it. He has that kind of speed.
No doubt. So often you'll see a linebacker trying to catch up. When he does, he has no attention on the ball. He's only got the receiver in mind. He was alert enough to find the ball, pick it off. That's something.
All right, they're down there on their 1 yard line. Washington trying to hold on to a 7-point lead. Warren Moon, quarterback, sneaks it. Time moving, and it's going to be called right now.
I would expect them to take three tries, go back, take a safety, and make a long punt.
Time is called on Michigan. They have 2 timeouts left. What a finish. It looked like a breeze in for Washington. But Michigan, to their everlasting credit, behind by 20 points, came roaring back for 2 touchdowns and appeared to be on their way for another one. And they just had a ball carom off a receiver's hands into the hands of a Washington player, Michael Jackson, on the 1 yard line.
And I'll tell you, Rick Leach is to be commended, as is Warren Moon. Both these kids have just done so splendidly that you expect a fine game. I don't know if you can ever expect a performance like these 2 fellas have put on.
When play is resumed, it'll be on the 4 yard line of Washington, 2nd down, 7. Leach and the Michigan team, John, showed plenty of passing prowess there in the 4th period.
You bet they did. We mentioned that has been the added dimension of Michigan, and Leach has shown that next year they're going to have to watch out even more.
They really opened it up. 2nd down, 7. Big hole open. They plug it out to the 10 yard line. And carrying that ball is Ron Rowland, number 26. He's playing his last game for the University of Washington. 1,000-yard rusher his junior year. Lost the job to sophomore Joe Steele this year. But Ron Rowland is bowing out. He's put on a good performance here in the Rose Bowl.
Well, I'll tell you, Washington now, this is, you know, we've talked about how many big 3rd down plays have there been. It's the last one that's important. This is a 3rd down and 2. If they get the 1st down, they can sit on it and run out the clock, and Michigan has nothing left. If not, Michigan's going to get another shot from their midfield stripe with about a minute to play.
I was talking about that 63 game that ended in the dark. This one is ending in darkness here in the gloaming Pasadena, the San Gabriel Mountains now. You can just barely see the silhouette in the darkness. Been a long game with a wild second half. A big play game by both teams. Vander Kellen broke all the passing records that day. Attempts, completions, he had 33 completions. And they could barely see the players at the end of the game. Third down, a long yard to go for Washington from their 10-yard line. Gibson diving for it. It's going to be close, and they'll measure. If Washington holds on, this is an upset, of course. The Orange Bowl will be coming up next, so stay tuned for more outstanding football on NBC. Oklahoma, Arkansas. Texas was beaten today. Alabama defeated Ohio State, but Texas was knocked off by Notre Dame. Oklahoma ranked number 2 coming into the bowl games in the nation. And they have a chance tonight to see what they can do with Arkansas. Next on NBC.
I think this mark is just a gesture. I think they're about 3-4 feet short. We'll see whether or not they take the safety.
They are. Stanford had upsets here against Ohio State and Michigan with Plunkett and Don Bunce. One of the big games in the history of the Rose Bowl was Stanford and Notre Dame, the Four Horsemen, Rockne, Pop Warner, Ernie Nevers. Many say Ernie Nevers is the greatest player they ever saw.
Well, I know he tried them all by himself. Yeah. I think he may have come out a winner.
All right, let's see what they do here. They're in punt formation now with 1 minute, 2 seconds to go, and Washington leading 27-20. 1 minute, 2 seconds to play. Dwight Hicks, the safety man. Let's see how Washington plays it. Aaron Wilson, a freshman from Centralia, Washington, is the kicker. Gonna punt it. He just got it away. Hicks is waiting. And it's on the 48-yard line. He just got that punt away. Now Michigan has another shot with 44 seconds to play.
Kurt, you know what they do? They're saying, hey, wait a minute, even if they score, we're not going to give them. What good is 20 more yards going to do us when even if they score, they have to make the 2-point play? That's just what it came down to.
Rick Leach will bring his team up. 27-20, Washington. Last time Michigan lost the ball on the 1-yard line. Here's Leach going down the middle, incomplete to Clayton. Ralph Clayton has become his favorite receiver in the 4th period. He caught 3, just lost one off his fingertips for a touchdown. And then Stanley Edwards, the freshman tailback, had one on his hands that he couldn't hold on to at the 1-yard line.
Tough circumstance. You sit there and you say, hey, is Washington in a prevent defense? It's always a very vulnerable defense. I love to play against it. However, they've got linebackers man-to-man on receivers. They've been effective with their 3-man rush all day long, and I see no reason to change it.
2nd down, 10. Michigan on the Washington 48-yard line. Leach looks to field over. He's going deep. They're back there defending. It is intercepted. Intercepted by Neil Glasgow. Glasgow intercepts the ball. And it'll be Washington's ball game now. Stanley Edwards was the intended receiver.
Yeah, I think he's running to the locker room. They've got 32 seconds left, but it is history because all they have to do is get the snap from center, fall down on the ground, and Michigan's out of timeouts.
We want to thank Joe Costanza, Dennis Benician, Dr. Robert Woods, the Dodger team physician, and Ozzie Lang for their excellent help in the booth again, as they always do on these annual Rose Bowl get-togethers, which has ended up to be a Rose Bowl shootout here in the 4th period with 32 seconds to go. Washington now protecting a 7-point lead. Down goes Warren Moon. Look at his teammates protecting there. 27. Rick Leach. Leach discouraged.
He's got nothing to feel bad about other than the loss.
What a 4th quarter he played, John. He nearly pulled it out.
That's the man you really have to put some amplification.
Bo Schembechler,
both of them,
beaten again in a postseason game unless his team can recover. Don James wrapping up his 3rd year with a team of sophomores and juniors ready to go next year to defend the title in the Pac-10 conference next year.
You know, Kurt, people have recognized him for being a conservative type football mind. I can't see where that thought applies today.
That'll be Michigan's last time out. The player of the game, chosen by the Citizen Saving Hall Board, Warren Moon, the quarterback of Washington. who scored 2 touchdowns in the first half and led his team into a 27-7 lead, only to see them threat. Now he drops back to the 2-yard line. It'll be counting down. These Washington fans will be spilling out as the clock is going to run out. No more timeouts. Michigan, 4 times in a row, comes out here frustrated. The Big Ten has lost 9 out of 11, and they must be wondering now just how good this Pac-8 conference is.
Well, they know it's good. Both teams played extremely well, and I think it was a great representation.
There's Charlie Jones with Don James. Down to Charlie. We cannot use it down there because of technical difficulties. That's the Washington team. First time they've been in the Rose Bowl since '63, and they came in there smoking, and they did it. They upset a 2-touchdown favored Michigan team that had lost only 1 game. So in these season records, and there's Bo Schembechler congratulating Michael Jackson. Schembechler has always been a great sport, even when he lost here. Congratulating the Washington players. Schembechler, heartbroken again as he goes out, still has the top coaching record in the nation for the last 9 years. So this is Curt Gowdy and John Brody thanking you. Happy New Year. And coming up next, over most of these NBC stations, the 1978 Orange Bowl with Oklahoma against Arkansas from the Orange Bowl in Miami. Oklahoma poised now. They'll be out for one. Texas was beaten today by Notre Dame. Arkansas, a troubled team, may get together and play the game of their lives after the troubles they've had on their campus and within their squad. It's going to be a very interesting confrontation between Oklahoma and Arkansas in the Orange Bowl. Don James being hoisted off, and he had his team fired up and ready. And one lesson we've learned here every year in the Rose Bowl, take those season records and throw them out the window. They mean nothing.